And we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live on the show. And I appreciate y'all for that. We got a whole lot going on all over the internets, all over social media, all over mainstream media, all over everywhere. And it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. So Dave Chappelle has been in the news lately, of course, due to this whole LGBT flicks, LGBT versus Dave Chappelle, the trans community. All these people want to cancel Dave Chappelle for some reason, like he's not a comedian, like he can't crack jokes, like somehow he's a problematic person. We'll talk about that. Also, we got to talk about Joe Rogan versus Sanjay Gupta. Well, really versus CNN, not necessarily Sanjay Gupta, because throughout the podcast, they had a pretty good exchange. Joe Rogan likes Sanjay Gupta. However, Sanjay Gupta had to be the stand-in for CNN when Joe Rogan was raging about CNN. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Also, your man Pete Buttigieg, taking 2 months of paternity leave. For what reason? What is it? And you were in the federal government as a Secretary of Transportation, yet you got all these ships piling up off the coast of California, Gulf Coast, Mexico, East Coast, everywhere. They're piling up. The VA school boards are crazy as usual. We'll talk about all those things and more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And I thank y'all again for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. So if you enjoyed what you heard thus far, if you enjoy the content in general, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Also, if you're listening to me on your favorite audio streaming platform, whether that be Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, etc., please give me a 5-star rating, give me a review, give me a share, a recommendation, whatever you can do on that platform. I most certainly appreciate it. And if you don't know, this show will be available on one of the aforementioned audio platforms. Link for that will be in the box, or just go to your favorite platform. Like prime example, go to Apple iTunes, search for ABL Live. I should pop right on up. And also shout out to the sponsors, of course. Shout out to me. Shout out to ABLmerch.com. I think we're sold out of these hats. And with this whole supply chain nonsense, I'm not sure when I'll be able to get some back. I think they are stationed. Well, the headquarters where I get these hats is out there on the West Coast, but I'm not sure where all the parts come from, but they may come here. Anyway, we'll see how the whole supply chain thing goes, if I'm able to get some more of these, but I have a bunch of more hats, t-shirts, stickers, hoodies, and more that are fully stocked on the website right now at ABL Merch, ABLmerch.com. Check it out right now. And also go to anthonyblogan.com. For every single video I make, I write an article. So I do everything myself. I record it. Obviously, it's me talking. It's not CGI. So I record it, I edit it, upload thumbnails, everything, and I write a full article about the video, and I source it. So nobody could say, ABL, you making stuff up. You just put it out of nowhere. No, never that. I always source my articles with balanced sources, not just from one particular place. Again, that's AnthonyBLogan.com. That is ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGAN.com. And of course, shout out to BHEDesigns.com. They make these beautiful handmade wooden flags that are right behind me. I know I say that every week, but people always ask me every day, hey, where do we get the flags? How do we find those flags? They're right there. You can get ones that are just like those or one of your very own over on BHEDesigns.com. Link for that particular store will be in the box, or just type it in, go there, tell them I sent you, and you'll be good to go. And also patriotpost.us, the best source of news and information anywhere on the internets. Patriotpost.us. Been around for a long time, 25 plus years, right out here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So shout out to them. Really, really good guys. I've met them, talked to them. Good people. Patriotpost.us. You got to check it out. So did I get everybody? That's pretty much everybody. But All of my links, everything will always be in the description box below the video. If you're listening to me on the audio streaming platform, there should be a description box somewhere, and I have links in that box, or just go to it. That'll work out just the same. So we got a lot going on. There's a whole lot happening. And again, I thank y'all for joining. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me. Now, I think I'm going to start with the Virginia schools, because a lot of you guys have been asking me about this, about Loudoun County and Fairfax and whatnot, that battle that's been raging out there as far as the school system is concerned. Now, people, I think people don't really, not you guys are brilliant rocket scientists, of course, and I'm being serious, but a lot of people, a lot of normies out there that are not really in tune with politics, they don't understand the severity of the situation out there in Loudoun County, like in Northern Virginia. And just a brief little history before I get to the school board kerfuffle. Northern Virginia is very, 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 very liberal, because it's right there across from it's right on the Potomac, and DC is right there. That's part of what the cool kids call the DMV. That's DC, Maryland, and Virginia. That DC metropolitan area. You have DC right there on the border, on the Potomac between Maryland and Virginia. Then you have DC North, that's Maryland, Silver Spring, Rockville, Bowie, Waldorf, all that good stuff. That's over in the Maryland side of the DC metro area. Then you have the Virginia side. That's Annandale, Falls Church, Hoodbridge, a.k.a. Woodbridge, Honduras, a.k.a. Honduras. All of that is right there. Leesburg is a little bit further out. Loudoun County, Fairfax County, very populous areas. It's all part of the DC area, the DC metro area. And the thing about it is, a lot of people that work on the Hill or that work kind of for the government are right there. And they're very liberal, kind of like San Francisco. That's the equivalent of it, of my humble opinion. But the key difference is that people vote for more government out there because they're able to get more money and more jobs. The industry that exists out there in DC, and by the way, if you didn't know, the DC metro area is the richest area in the country. Maybe I'm wrong. It could be San Francisco, maybe, because you got Silicon Valley right there. But I'm pretty sure that the DC area is the richest in the whole country. Why? Are they producing supercomputers? Are they producing planes? What's their actual product they produce in the DC metro area? Anyone take a stab at it? They produce money itself, because that's where all the government is. So when you have more government, you're going to have more money, because they're going to just print more money. They'll make more money. They'll create more money and more laws that give them more money, because they get more jobs and they get raises and whatnot, okay? They gave a raise to Congress just recently for no reason. Why does Congress deserve a raise? What have they done to prove that they need a raise? I mean, they messed the country up. They got a bunch of inflation. So I guess they're like, well, you messed the country up. We printed all these trillions of dollars at an unprecedented rate. We created 25% of the world's money supply, or the country money supply, in 1 year. So let's get a raise. Why not? It's taxpayer money anyway. The point I'm making about DC, the area, Maryland and Virginia, is that it's so rich because of all the government money, the government spending. Big government means more money. So you got a lot of liberals out there that want the government to be expanded. That's the whole thing. And a lot of these people live right there in Northern Virginia, and they work there or they commute to DC. So the schools out there are very liberal, and it's kind of a battleground place as far as all the critical race theory and other things. Virginia, that's where the whole transgender bathroom thing happened. Remember Gavin Grimm back a few years ago? That was in Virginia. And I think that might have been in Gloucester. That wasn't in DC. That was closer to Hampton Roads. Matter of fact, let me look it up right quick. Gavin Grimm, where was that? And yeah, Gloucester. That was closer to like Hampton, Newport News. That's Southern Virginia. That's not quite DC, but you're getting kind of high. You're getting a little bit up there. Gloucester, that's like Middle Peninsula. You almost at the northern neck. So you're right there getting close to Northern Virginia. You're not quite in the DC metro, but you a hop, skip, and the jump So the whole transgender bathroom thing started in Virginia as far as schools. Now we got critical race theory and more trans bathroom stuff happening right there in Virginia. And it came to a head earlier in the summer. Now I would play the video, but I probably can't play it because the man ended up bleeding. I know how YouTube is. They're real skittish. Okay, he got a scratch on his face and he's bleeding. Oh, that's violence. You can't show that. It's kids watching. So whatever. Back on June 22nd of this year, if I'm not mistaken, a father went to a Loudoun County School Board meeting because his 12-year-old daughter had been sexually assaulted in the bathroom by a so-called transgender boy who had all his parts. And I won't get into graphic detail about what happened, but the predictable happened, unfortunately. We had been saying here on this channel that when you put boys and girls together in the bathroom, or men and women, it's going to be dangerous. It's going to be dangerous. Not necessarily as far as having girls go into the boys' bathroom. Yeah, it's not really about the danger being toward boys necessarily. I mean, it could be dangerous for boys in that situation because you don't want a Me Too type thing going on. You don't want anything like that to happen. But as far as physical danger, the danger is toward the girls. It's toward the women. Now, the argument was, oh, that's a red herring. The trans women, whatever they want to call themselves, they don't harm the girls. They don't harm the women. And for the most part, that's probably true. For the most part, okay, they probably just want to go in there, do their thing, and be out. However, we all know that you're going to have some men that take advantage of that rule and they're going to violate women. It's happened a lot in the country to adults. Now you got 12-year-old girls being assaulted. And a particular school board or the school system, whatever it was out there, and Loudoun tried to cover it up. When they went to the school board meeting and they were like, hey, is there any record of this kind of assault happening? Nope, doesn't happen. Red herring, Fox News, fake news. But it did happen. And then the person, the boy that assaulted the 12-year-old was allowed to still remain at the school. He wasn't even suspended. As far as I know, it wasn't a criminal action taken against him until he assaulted somebody else at the school. You have a serial thing going on here with a middle school or high school student. But this is something that anybody could have seen coming because when you put boys and girls in the same place, in a bathroom or locker room, you're going to have guys that do things like this. We saw that at the Wii Spa in LA. Remember that? Where you got women, girls, or whatever, just hanging out in the spa, minding their own business, chilling. Here comes this dude with his full parts swinging around. That shouldn't happen. And she's going to the front counter complaining like, hey, he is in here. He is doing X, Y, and Z. And then you got this soy drinker in the background talking about it's she. It's like, sir, look, check it out. Right now, ain't time to be playing around. There's no time for games at this moment. This man got his full package in there, just letting it all hang out. Right now is the wrong time to be trying to play games like that, all right? I saw what I saw, and that's it. So it happened at the Wii Spa as far as the uncomfortable or, just doing things shouldn't be doing, exposing themselves. And then it also happened over somewhere like Oregon, somewhere where somebody got actually assaulted. In the penitentiary, I heard about they're locking up men and women together. That the dumbest thing. If the argument is that so-called trans people don't normally attack just regular normies in an environment where they're together, as far as gender not really being the issue, like in the bathroom, a communal place, that can't be taken into the prison because you have criminals already. They're in jail. They're criminals. They're in jail. You got guys that are on drugs, violent offenders. They're in jail. So surely the last place you would do a thing like this is in the penitentiary. You got men being assaulted by other men in the penitentiary. So if you put a woman in there, it's going to be worse. And now here we are. You got women coming up pregnant in the penitentiary. I mean, the whole thing is a mess. But to get back to Loudoun County, the father just completely melted down because of what happened to his daughter, and they were trying to antagonize him, and it was crazy. So he got arrested, and it was a pretty violent arrest, but he didn't get hurt at all. He, like I said, a little bit of a scratch or whatever on his face. He wasn't severely hurt. The police didn't have a choice because they're called out there. They got to make sure everything's under control. I doubt they wanted to really do it. They probably wanted to let the man go, just do what he wanted to do, but you can't do that. You got to follow the law as a law enforcement officer. Although you may not want to in that particular case, you got to follow the law. So they didn't do anything wrong, and the father said that he still supports the police and first responders and law enforcement. The beef is with Loudoun County. The beef is with the school system out there that allowed his daughter to be assaulted by a boy in the bathroom because he identified as transgender. It's the dumbest thing in the world, and this is part of the whole critical race theory argument. It's part of the argument against wokeness. You see, critical race theory is just one piece of it. It's just one piece of the wokeness. It's one piece of the indoctrination. You also have LGBTQ, elemental P, X, Y, and Z indoctrination. You go into the classrooms and you see pride flags and Black Lives Matter flags, no American flags. Oh, that's racist. You can't have an American flag, but you could have every other flag up under the sun. You could have a Communist Party of China flag. You can have all the communist leaders on the board drawn out in chalk. You know, you can have all that good stuff all you want to, but how dare you have an American flag? How dare you have the flag of the state that you're in? It's crazy. So this thing is really serious, and I think we're going to see how serious parents in Virginia are with this election coming up with Terry McAuliffe versus Glenn Youngkin. Now, is there a chance for Glenn Youngkin, the Republican, to win in Virginia? Yes, there is. If you would have asked me this a few days ago, I would have said no, because I know Virginia. I know how it is. I'm from Virginia. I watched it progressively turn blue over the years. When I was a kid, it was solidly red. It would never go blue. It was always red, reliably red. But as DC expanded and you started to get more people in Falls Church, Annandale, all these places right there, on the Potomac, as that started to increase, so did the Democrat population in Virginia. That all increased. Okay. So I saw it go from solidly red to solidly blue. That could change because of what's happening in Northern Virginia, in the epicenter of the liberalism. You see, as Northern Virginia goes, so does the rest of Virginia, which is really unfair, quite frankly. I would say y'all just take Northern Virginia, once you get past Fredericksburg on 95, up to like the border of West Virginia, up like the little, a circle, a 90-mile circle from the epicenter of DC. Just take all that and make that be DC. That's fine. And let Virginia be its own thing. I'd rather that be the case than Northern Virginia dominate all the politics. Get out of Virginia, all these DC people. But anyway, if you're able to change Northern Virginia because of what's happening to these regular normies, they probably vote Democrat all the time, as far as attacking their kids in the school system, attacking their parents when they go to the school board meeting, then you can make a change. But if you see that Glenn Youngkin loses and it's by a wide margin, you know it's too far gone at that point. You know it's too far gone. It's like California. People had high hopes for the whole Gavin Newsom recall situation. They had high hopes, right? Really high hopes. But now we know, we saw Gavin Newsom get, how can I say, he was still in place. He didn't get removed from office. We saw that happen. So we know that there's not really a chance for California to go anything other than the Gavin Newsom direction anytime soon. How can it? He gets elected. He screws everything up in the state. People are fleeing the state, losing population, losing House rep seats. It's a whole big mess. Everything's expensive. You want to buy a house in LA? Well, we're going to need $550,000 for the ghetto. If you want to flip a house in Compton, you're gonna need 400,000 cash to flip an abandoned house in the hood with bars in the window, and you got to put 200 more in it and make it hospitable. Okay, you got rats, roaches, all that good stuff for 400,000 in Compton. LA's a mess, a big, crazy, ridiculous, expensive mess. The gas out of control. I feel bad for you guys. If you have a truck, like a pickup truck in Los Angeles, I don't know how you do it. How do you even, because you got traffic, you go from point A to point B, it'd be 2 miles, it take you 2 hours. And you got this big gas guzzler trying to buy gas in Los Angeles. How do you do it? How can you? People are leaving. So you know what? It's a wrap. But unfortunately, liberals are also leaving. They don't like California. It's this liberal utopia, but liberals don't like it. And unfortunately, they're leaving and they're going straight to Austin, Texas, making that be a California enclave. And they wonder why you got all these homeless dope fiends out in Austin. Why Austin and not somewhere like El Paso or San Antonio or Houston or Dallas? Why just Austin? Why is Austin like that? It's because of the policies that people vote for, that they advocate for when they go out there. That's why. It's very simple. People don't see it that way. Go to San Antonio, you don't see what you see in Austin, but it ain't that far from each other. It's right down the street, but it's different because of the people that live there. Yeah, Austin, I feel bad for you guys because, what they say, keep Austin weird, whatever. Not that weird, not to the point where you become California East, California Southeast, or whatever they want to label Texas as. Yeah, that's not what you want. You don't want the Tex-Mex version of California. That's not what we signed up for when we went to Austin, but here we are. Not me, I'm talking about you guys that are out there. I don't live in Austin. But shout out to you guys in Texas. I love Texas. It's a beautiful place, just not Austin. Take Austin out, put that back in California, and anybody that's a true Texan that wants to be a normal person, leave them back, let them be refugees in San Antonio somewhere, then they'd be good to go, right? They'll be good to go. But to get back to it, I think that some of these places are kind of too far gone. However, if we see a change in Virginia, you know that the reason is because of all the school board nonsense and the way that they're trying to attack parents and they're trying to attack teachers. I mean, not teachers, pardon me, the students, attacking parents and the students. They're attacking the parents because they're trying to seek the federales on them. They're trying to get the DOJ and the FBI on the parents because they're going to the school board meeting and expressing their grievances. And they use that video of the man being arrested with a little scratch or whatever I can't show on YouTube because they might want to freak out. They'll use that video and say, hey, see, that's an example of domestic terrorism. This man was out of control. He was irate. If the police weren't there, he would have hurt someone. But they don't tell the full story about how this man's daughter was assaulted in the bathroom by a boy who shouldn't have been there, but was allowed to be there by the school's policy about, hey, you can identify as whatever you want. You could be an 85-year-old man and identify as Jennifer Aniston, and you get a key to the Sex and the City reunion party, right? It's the dumbest thing in the world, but we're playing along with these games. And when you get disastrous results as a result, people want to act like you're crazy for reacting the way you react. I tell you what, I don't have any children, but if I was the father in that situation and my 12-year-old daughter was assaulted, I can't even speak on the internets right now about where my mind would go. But any human in that situation would react in a negative way. There's no way you're not going to react in a negative way. It varying degrees of negativity, of course, varying degrees, whether you become very sad or whether you go a different direction. Now, I'm not going to say where I'm going to go because, hey, that's not for the YouTubes to know. I'm just saying I empathize with the father for that reaction, right? For kind of, resisting and wilding out. How could you not? But again, I would never say what I would do in that situation. And I don't have any weapons. I lost everything in a tragic boating accident. So there's that, But I'm going to leave that right there for now. I digress. So yeah, shout out to the dad though. I mean, shout out to the dad. He did what he's supposed to be doing. There was nothing else that he could have done. In that situation, as a father, I think hey, if I got to go to jail for a little bit, then so be it. You kind of like rationalizing what your decision is going to be as far as how you react to the situation. Okay, you just kind of, and then really, if it was me and I was him and I was in that situation, I'm thinking, okay, if I go to a jury trial, are they going to be nice to me because, I'm a dad and all that? I'm thinking that way in my mind if I was him. Like, I'm thinking about the future consequences of my action. But anyway, thank y'all for being here yet again. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you enjoy what you're hearing so far, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Also, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. We got a whole lot going on. Joe Rogan versus Sanjay Gupta. Now, again, as I was saying earlier, this is not necessarily about Joe Rogan versus Sanjay Gupta. It's more about Joe Rogan versus CNN. But because Sanjay Gupta was there, he had to go ahead and just take some of those punches meant for CNN. Here's the story. CNN kept saying that Joe Rogan had taken ivermectin. They kept calling it horse dewormer. They said that Joe Rogan was taking horse dewormer to deal with the virus. Although he was prescribed the medication by a doctor, by his doctor. I'm not sure anybody could say that it's horse dewormer when you get prescribed the medication by a doctor, and when there's a human version that's been around for many, many years, won a Nobel Peace Prize, all that good stuff, right? How can anyone sit there and lie on you like that? But that's what CNN does. They did all kind of backtracking and double down at the same time. Like they kind of backtrack talking about, oh, no, we really didn't say it was horse dewormer. We said that it is used as horse dewormer, but we didn't say he took horse they were backtracking, but at the same time doubling down, saying, nah, we didn't really say they took horse dewormer, but what he took was that. So when we say he took horse dewormer, we weren't lying. Just apologize really at that point, because who are you trying to please? Who are you trying to fool with that rhetoric at this point? Who's going to be fooled by that? I'm not. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not fooled by that. And as a matter of fact, I have a supercut here somewhere. If I can find it, I will put it on the screen so you guys can see what's going on. Matter of fact, I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to put up the, you know what? No. I'm going to find a supercut because it had everything in it. It had all of what you're going to need right there. All the different times CNN said, no, you taking horse dewormer. Matter of fact, I'm going to find that right now. And while I'm trying to find that, you guys, please give the video a thumbs up if you enjoy what you're hearing so far. And also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that for me as well. I most certainly appreciate you. Well, I got quite a few videos to show you guys, actually. I'm going to show you guys a whole lot more than just that one right there. I got pictures for you guys as well, talking about Boot Edge Edge. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But anyway, here, CNN kept saying it's horse dewormer, all this and that. So at a certain point, Joe Rogan's like, wait a minute, you guys just can't keep saying that about me. That's called slander or libel or whatever it is in that situation. You're not telling the truth. So now when I have Sanjay Gupta, and shout out to Sanjay Gupta for agreeing to go on the Joe Rogan Experience, because most people would not want to do that, because they already know Joe Rogan is going to be confrontational to a certain extent. And he's going to ask you, hey, why did you guys say I took horse dewormer when I didn't take horse dewormer? What was the purpose? And you're not going to have an answer. You're going to try to like laugh and do all that kind of stuff. Here's a supercut. There we go. Shout out to Clay Travis. And Clay Travis has a caption that says, hold on, give me 1 second here. It says, here are some of the many times at CNN accused Joe Rogan of taking the horse dewormer on the air, a blatant lie. Good job clipping this. And I think the original video came from Tom Elliott, if I'm not mistaken. Let's put it on the screen, get a little bit of sound. Let's get it rocking and rolling.
It blows my mind that Joe Rogan just yesterday admitted to taking ivermectin.
Ivermectin is something more often used to deworm horses.
CNN is saying I'm taking horse dewormer.
Rogan telling his 13 million Instagram followers that he was treated with several drugs, and he included ivermectin on the list, a drug used for livestock.
Rogan. Now, these clips are all coming from CNN, except for when you hear Rogan speaking. All CNN, different anchors, different shows, different times, different days.
And said the word ivermectin. Yes, that's the deworming medicine made to kill parasites in farm animals.
Why would they lie and say that's horse dewormer?
So things are clearly bad, but they're being made even worse by people who have refused to take the vaccine and instead are swallowing horse paste.
Wait a second. He said that he got better because he ate cattle dewormer.
They must know that that's a lie.
You have individuals like Joe Rogan, for example, who don't want to take an experimental vaccine but will take horse dewormer.
Well. If it isn't old horseworm Rogan.
Ivermectin is often used to deworm livestock.
Ivermectin apparently given to deworm animals.
It's a lie on a news network, and it's a lie that's a lie that they're conscious of. It's not a mistake.
Yeah.
They're unfavorably framing it as veterinary medicine.
Joe Rogan, he came down with COVID. He says he's been taking the livestock dewormer ivermectin.
They lied and said I was taking horse dewormer.
Ivermectin is a drug that is commonly used as a horse dewormer.
They keep saying I'm taking horse dewormer. I literally got it from a doctor.
You know, doctors say you could take it for
They go chunk yogurt.
humans. Yeah, but not for coronavirus.
He may not have gotten it from the feed supply store, but it's the same compound.
When you have a horse deworming medication that's discouraged by the government, that actually causes some people in this crazed environment we're in to actually want to try it. That's the upside down world we're in with figures like Joe Rogan.
Bro, do I have to sue CNN?
He also acknowledged taking a controversial treatment designed for animals.
Does it bother you that the news network you work for out and out lied, just outright lied about me taking horse dewormer?
They shouldn't have said that.
Why did they do that?
I don't know.
I mean, again, shout out to him, Gupta, for going on there. But it was a train wreck in that particular part of it. The whole podcast that they did, a 3-hour podcast, from what I'm able to gather, was a decent conversation between the two. It was a good conversation. But that part right there was a straight train wreck. How can anybody say that? How can anyone say that CNN did not lie about this man? You get prescribed medication by a doctor, and they calling it horse dewormer. They're saying you went to the feed store, and while you're picking up a bale of hay, some cowboy boots, and some chewing tobacco, you went and got some horse paste and put that in your Diet Coke and drank it. That's the kind of vibe they want to put out there. But that's not the case. You get sick, you go to a doctor, give you medication, take that, and you get better. What's the problem? Maybe, I'm just talking out loud here, but maybe there's some financial incentive for them to say that. Maybe IVM and HCQ, things like that, don't cost anything, or they don't cost enough. You can get that, you're able to get that through generics. So you want to push the other thing, the brand new thing, the experimental quote unquote thing that is going to be to generate more money, more revenue. Maybe because a lot of these CNN, MS-13, DNC, etc., Young Turks, they could be funded by Big Pharma when you're talking about ads. One thing that you see over here in the States that you don't see anywhere else are TV commercials featuring prescription drugs. And you're sitting here wondering, why am I watching this ad about this drug? I don't want to say a drug name, just Generica, okay? Take 2 tablets of Generica every night before bed. And then what they say, Generica could cause blindness, death, back pain, gout, blindness, severe headaches. You want to eat food every day. All these crazy side effects they mention, with a smiling lady walking through a forest, playing with lilies and blowing dandelions and stuff like that, right? That's big money though. To us, it looks weird, looks crazy, but that's big money. So in my opinion, that's what it's all about. You're trying to protect the bag, CNN, MSNBC, etc. Because without those ad dollars, you're finished. Who's going to watch CNN, really? Who's watching that? If not for the fact that you got to watch CNN in the airport or in a car repair place or in an old folks home or something like that, who wants to sit there and watch CNN, okay? If it wasn't for the fact that they're kind of like in bed with Google, Facebook, etc., social media companies as a quote-unquote authority, who's going to really watch that or read that? Nobody. They suck. They're trash. They're garbage. The people on there, the personalities on there are all trash. They're garbage. So that could be what it is. I don't see another reason why. If it's a legitimate medication prescribed by a doctor, what's the problem? What is the actual issue? I don't see one. Yeah, they got Twitter ads as well. That's right, Christy. Absolutely. 100%. That's why I think it is. Because what's the other reason? Why push for the vax so hard? Why? What's the reason? Okay. You know, I saw this. I saw an article recently where they said it's probably best to get the vax and then catch the bug for better protection. It's like you can't make this stuff up. When I sit here and say that the vax cannot prevent transmission, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, put your tinfoil, Kofi back on, ABL, all this and that is what they say to me, right? Not Kofi, put your tinfoil, Kofi back on, put this tinfoil square hat with the African print on it, put it back on your head. That's what they tell me. Then it's here an article that says, hey, when you get the vax, catch the bug too. That'll give you better strength. Anyway, I digress. The whole point is that Joe Rogan said nothing wrong, did nothing wrong, and I appreciate the fact that he wants to stand up to the mob. He's not going to just take this stuff like it's nothing. He's going to actually say something and defend himself. I really, really, really appreciate that. And again, I think him and Sanjay Gupta had a pretty good talk. Sanjay appeared to kind of be sympathetic toward what Joe Rogan was saying on the podcast as far as the CNN lying, but then he went back and doubled down with Don Lemon about the whole horse dewormer narrative. You saw some of that clip in the one I just played, right? I'm going to play a little bit more right here. So this clip is on Don Lemon. This is like a day or two after the clip went on the internet. They went into damage control mode immediately over at CNN because Sanjay Gupta is CNN analyst, the medical guy over there. So when he goes on TV or on the Joe Rogan Experience, it says that CNN were wrong to call IVM horse dewormer. When he says that, now it's like, hey, man, check it out. It'll be a phone call from Judge Zucker. Sanjay, get on the air tonight, and we're going to fix this. So here was one of the fixer interviews with Don Lemon. Again, this is after the Joe Rogan podcast.
So very important. I know it's in large part a tongue-in-cheek interview, you know, because it's Joe Rogan and there's a lot to...
And let's pause right there, tongue-in-cheek. So they want to try to discredit Joe Rogan as a comedian and not really serious because they don't want what he says to be taken seriously. They want to be the authority figures. Meanwhile, you go on the whole game show suit and you probably wearing a bunch of makeup in the wig. So who's the game show host and who is not? Who is serious here and who is not? Don Lemon. But I digress.
So very important. I know it's in large part a tongue-in-cheek interview, you know, because it's Joe Rogan and there's a lot to, you're jockeying back and forth. But he did say something about ivermectin that I think wasn't actually correct about CNN and lying, okay? Ivermectin is a drug that is commonly used as a horse dewormer. So it is not a lie to say that the drug is used as a horse dewormer. I think that's important, and it is not approved for COVID. Correct?
That's right. That's correct.
See how fake it is? When he was on Joe Rogan, oh, they shouldn't have said that. I wouldn't have said that. But immediately the next day, oh, you're right. It is horse dewormer. So fake.
Correct. It is not approved for COVID. And you're right. I mean, the FDA even put out a statement saying, you know, basically reminding people, it was a strange sort of message from the FDA, but they said, you're not a horse, you're not a cow, stop taking this stuff, is essentially what they said, referring to ivermectin. Now, I think what Joe's point is...
It's been approved for humans, but not necessarily for COVID, right? Yeah.
That's correct.
Moving the goalposts. It wasn't even about that. See, the original statement was it's horse dewormer. Now you're saying, oh, well, yeah, humans can use it, but not for the virus. You're moving the goalpost. The first goalpost was it's for horses. Oh, you missed that. Far right. Now, oh, it's not for the virus. Oh, we can make that one. Although his doctor prescribed it to him. Are you a doctor, Don Lemon and Sanjay Gupta? Are you his primary care physician? Are you Joe Rogan's doctor? How are you going to say something like that? How do you guys even know? Do you guys treat patients? I think not.
It's been used for a parasitic disease for something it's called river blindness, and it's been very effective for that. But, just because it works for one thing doesn't mean it works for something else. Right. And, there's still a few ongoing clinical trials around ivermectin.
So, yeah, I'll play the rest of that. But he also said that Joe Rogan took monoclonal antibodies, and that probably could have been what saved him rather than the IVM. But these people are so fake, though. So fake. If I was Joe Rogan, I would go ahead and sue. I will go ahead and just sue and say, you know what, forget it, man. Y'all are playing too many games. I'm going to sue you right now, and then let's see you get the last laugh. He got plenty of money. I know Joe Rogan does. I know Rogan has more cash than Don Lemon's going to be able to accrue, even if he has to fundraise, GoFundMe, some of these rich guys that he's in the bed with, that he's friends with. It won't be enough to really match Joe Rogan's money, so he could sue and get some bread. I'm not sure who he would sue. Maybe individual anchors like Don Lemon. But he probably would go ahead and just go straight for the jugular and sue a CNN. Just like how Gawker got sued and eliminated. They may want to sue the Clinton News Network and eliminate them. But I will go ahead and digress. Thank you for being here yet again. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you enjoy what you're hearing so far, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Also, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. What else we got? We got a whole lot going on here. Buttigieg, I'm talking about that too. Thank you for T. So we got Buttigieg. So your man, Pete Buttigieg, remember him? The guy who was running for president, was he the mayor of South Bend, Indiana? He's gay. That matters. We'll talk about that part in a minute. He's married to a man by the name of Chasten. Anyway, his husband is named Chasten. They adopted twins. Boy and a girl twins. So I guess it's fraternal twins. I'm not sure how that works properly. One named Penelope, one named Joseph. So they adopted twins, right? And Buttigieg took paid time off, paternity leave. Now, my question, you guys, again, I don't have any kids. I've not been here before. I don't do the corporate world, never have done that in my life, and I'm 37. So even before YouTube, I never did corporate. I was always an independent person. For the past 15 years, I've been like that. So my question would be, is it normal for men to take paternity leave for 2 months? Is that normal? Especially when they're married and they got money. You see what I'm saying? Like, I could understand maybe if you were a single dad and there was no mother there and you need you're trying to find some assistance or some help to get things rocking. I will understand the purpose. And for women to understand the purpose as well. You just had a baby. You want to take time before you had a baby because you want to, drop water on the cubicle. I get it. For a woman to do that, it makes perfect sense from a mechanical point of view. But for a man to take paternity leave when you got a husband and you got money, is that needed? Especially when you're in the federal government at an important position. You are a Secretary of Transportation. Your job is to make sure we're doing things like infrastructure, my roads. Because every time I say that, I don't want to pay no more tax, what they say. Oh, my roads, my roads. So you're in charge of my roads, ain't you, Buttigieg? So where you been at for the past 2 months? 2 months. Yeah, I'm sure there's a nanny. I'm sure there's a whole team of nannies. I'm sure of it. So why you need to take time off? Like, you're in the federal government. What are you even doing? You probably go home every night at 5 o'clock. Your husband's there. Your nannies are there. Your mama, your daddy, everybody else is right there. So what do you need to be taking time off for? And the crazy part is that nobody knew he was gone. You didn't even miss him. So at a certain point, is he even necessary to have in the government? Is his job needed? If it is, then I can't tell. Did anybody miss him? Did anybody care he was gone? He probably getting paid $100 grand, $200 grand to do that with extra benefits. And his husband probably got money too. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, what's happening. What's really going on? Okay, hold on. Let me see here. Carol says, leave laws changed a few years back, allowing parents to use 6 to 12 weeks family leave to bond with adoption. Okay, I see. But just a question to the audience, to you guys. The laws may be what they are, but do you think Buttigieg needed to take 2 months off when you're in the federal government? Okay, here's another question. Here's a bigger question, because Buttigieg was trying to be the president, right? Am I right about that? So he was trying to be the president. If he runs for president and wins, and then they adopt kids during the presidency, do you take time off? Do you take 2 months off from being the president to bond with the kids? Huh? I think you might not be able to do that. You take a weekend off or a vacation for 2 months and you just not being the president for that long. Has anyone ever done that in the history of the presidency ever? I mean, would that make, if you could be gone for 2 months as a president and you're not even missed, are you needed? Are you needed? Now, his job should be to make sure that things are going smoothly as far as transportation, right? You got all these ships off the coast of Los Angeles, California, like the left coast in general, East Coast, Gulf of Mexico, just sitting in the water waiting to offload their products. There's no drivers. There's no crane operators. There's nothing to be able to get things from point A to point B. So they're just kind of sitting there. Meanwhile, maybe something could be done from the federal level. They want to do everything else. They want to stop parents from going to the school board meeting, but they can't get them bike pedals and plastic products from China off of the boat to keep the supply chain going. They can't do that, but they want to spy on your bank account and see if you're paying your taxes properly. Okay, you get a gift from your mama or daddy or something like that for your wedding, and they want to investigate that, but they can't investigate how to get these ships offloaded. Same thing with Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is the border czar. But yet, look at the border. 15,000 Haitians at one point under a bridge. I'm old enough to remember back in the Trump days when the screech was kids in cages, right? Oh, Trump has all these kids in cages. That's immoral. That's racist. The kids in the cages look like the Taj Mahal compared to being under a bridge in 100-degree weather in Texas with 15,000 people. And you got the virus on top of that. Ain't nobody wearing no mask. Ain't nobody got no shots. Ain't nobody, the porta potties are just completely useless. People are doo-dooing wherever they stand. They going in the river, doo-dooing right there and bathing right there. It turned into a third world country instantly. No problem though. And the border czar, when you say, hey, do you want to go down to the border? I'll get there eventually. I'll get around to it. Don't worry. Don't keep asking me no questions. I'll get to it when I get to it. How about that? Oh, okay. But then when Trump just had kids in a nice facility with blankets and hot chocolate and sweet tea, all that kind of good stuff. Oh, that was racist when he did that. But the question remains, do you even need Buttigieg's job? Do you need Kamala Harris's job if, number one, they're not doing the job, and number two, when they are not doing it and not even missed, and when they come back and do it, nothing is happening. The same thing that was happening with them there was happening before they were there. And the supply chain issue started before Buttigieg went on his little vacation to bond with the baby. So what were you doing before? What have you been doing throughout this entire year that you've been in the federal government with the Biden administration? What have you been doing? Nothing. Do you even need? We need to shrink the size of the federal government, bring it down a few notches, because obviously they're useless, totally useless. The state government, city government does much more for your everyday life than the federales do. The federales is trying to extract cash from you. They're trying to get money, raising taxes. Why? I was watching the old video that I did. It was a debate video, and the guy was talking about tax breaks for the rich. Oh, Trump gave out these tax breaks for the rich. He hated small guy. I'm like, all right, here's a question I had, and he was unable to answer the question. But the question was, if Trump gives big business tax breaks, let's say it's like $100 million, and that business gives $50 million to their employees in the form of bonuses, rather than giving it to the federal government, and they put the rest back into the business to strengthen it, to develop more infrastructure, to develop more business, and to make them competitive with other businesses so they stay in business. What would you rather have? The $100 million go half to you, half to the business, or to the federal government? Couldn't answer the question. And then my next question was, if they give the money to the federales, what are they going to do with it that's going to help you as a regular person? How is the government going to help you with more tax money? What, hiring 100,000 IRS agents to rob you some more? They're going to take your tax money, hire 100,000 more IRS agents to rob you completely blind. All right. You working at McDonald's, they want to spy on your account. It's like, I'm at McDonald's. I'm making just enough to be able to eat. Why are you trying to spy on my account? That's how they operate. They want more and more money. So they're able to build the mansions out there in McLean, Virginia, and Waldorf, Maryland, and Bowie, Maryland, and Silver Spring, and Northeast, Northwest, wherever they want to in D.C. proper, Adams Morgan and stuff like that. That's what they want. It's called barefaced robbery, but I digress. I'm getting triggered. The whole point is, what's the point of all this money they want to take from us in federal income taxes? Why? Reduce it. Get rid of it. All right. So, yeah, we got a whole lot going on. And thank y'all again for being here. I definitely appreciate you guys. Hey, if you're a male in the comments commenting on my appearance, just know that I'm straight and I'm married, so it ain't gonna be nothing going on there. We gonna move beyond that. You're gonna go right beyond that and get into the next thing. So yeah, Pete Buttigieg. I mean, I don't think we're gonna need 2 months of parental leave, or they're calling it parental leave now. They didn't want to call it paternal leave or maternal leave, paternity or maternity. They want to call it parental leave because they don't want to have these gendered terms like maternity or paternity, because in a situation of Buttigieg or Buttigieg, whatever his name is, there's no mother going to be involved. And how did that even happen? Was it a surrogate with an egg donor? Who was the egg donor? How did that really work? Who provided the seed for the baby? Was it Pete or the husband? How does that really? I kind of don't want to know, honestly. It's kind of gross. But anyway, the whole point is that they adopted these kids and he had to take time off for that. Although he's in the federal government and his position that he had in the federal government, it didn't even matter whether he was there or not. It's like you're pretty much getting paid on paper for nothing. Like when they put the college athletes in these no show up classes, African studies, and you pretty much do one essay and you get an A in the whole class, it boosts your GPA up. That's kind of what they're doing in the federal government, throughout the entire federal government, not just with Buttigieg or Kamala Harris, but with all of them. All these random no work positions, people just getting paid to do. That's how the swamp works. The interns, the young people, they are the ones that are working. They are the ones that are drafting these bills up. They are the ones that are actually making the government operate. You got a few of these people in high positions of power that are pretty much just dictating to the youngins what to do. That's kind of what's going on. Right. Alrighty. So what else we got going on? Did I get to everything? No, I didn't. Oh, the best one. Hold on. I gotta get a swig for this one. Hold on. This right here. That right there, that tea is good. But anyway, hit the spot. Like, so Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle's great. Damon Wayans, another comedian, said that Dave Chappelle freed the comedy slaves. And what he meant by that is Dave Chappelle is doing things to make comedy be comedy and not so PC. Everything's politically correct. You can't say anything. You can't offend anyone. Dave Chappelle is freeing the comedy slaves. And not everyone likes that too much. The LGBTQ LMNOP community, they're mad. They're upset. Not all of them. Not all. But a lot of them are upset. The radical ones, they're mad. This has kind of been an ongoing thing over at Netflix. There's been a bunch of new developments over the past few years, really, but definitely over the past few weeks when his special called The Closer came out on Netflix, obviously. So first, some trans people, I think they just were vocalizing how upset they were. It was a Twitter thing. Oh, this is marginalizing us, it's attacking us, and trans people of color are being attacked everywhere, all this, that, and the third. It was a really big thing from people, just regular normies on the internets, on Twitter, which is not reality, and also at Netflix itself. They're really mad. Then came some trans Netflix employees and their so-called allies. They stormed an executive meeting with 500 people. Not as far as the stormers, 500 deep. The meeting with Netflix bigwigs, the top brass, they were 500 deep in that meeting. And a handful of trans people and their allies went and barged in the meeting to protest Dave Chappelle. And they're like, look, okay, y'all can have y'all little, you guys can have your protest. That's great, that's fine, but don't come in here at this meeting. We're trying to get this bag of money to give to y'all for y'all pay. So y'all need to go ahead and go somewhere else. This is not the place to be. So they got suspended. The ones that did that, I think it was like 3 people that got suspended. So they got suspended for doing that. And then they're going to stage a walkout, right? It was trans employees and their so-called allies, again, staging a walkout, which is going to be Wednesday of this coming up week. That'd be the 20th, if I'm not mistaken. It'd be Wednesday, the 20th of October. They were going to stage a walkout. So then the ringleader of that whole walkout thing got fired. And matter of fact, let me see. Let's put it on the screen right quick. This is on The Verge. And the person that got fired was a black pregnant woman. I'm not sure why the pregnant part had to get put in there. And I'm not sure how they identify. But the headline says Netflix just fired the organizer of the trans employee walkout. And the subhead says the company suspects they leaked metrics about Dave Chappelle, especially to the masses or to the press. So if you're leaking private information like that to the press, that is probably what really got them fired rather than this whole walkout thing. Because you can walk out and that's fine. All 10 of y'all can walk out. That's great. We'll replace you immediately. Get some employees from India. Get some employees from right here in the United States. It's fine. Y'all can go ahead and go about your business. Y'all kind of toxic anyway, in the way, not productive, but regardless. So the person who organized the walkout got fired. And let me see. Now, I'm reading this carefully because I don't see specific pronouns for the person, right? You understand? Because it says the employee who is black and currently pregnant asked not to be named for fear of online harassment. They say they and them and all this and that. So is this if you're pregnant, you got to be a woman. Obviously, you can't be a man and pregnant. But maybe this person might be one of them women that likes to rock a beard and whatnot and look real masculine as if they are a male when they're not. If you are pregnant, you cannot be a male. You may identify as a male, that's fine. But at the end of the day, if you have XY chromosomes, it is impossible for you to be pregnant, period. You can't be pregnant. So I'm thinking this is probably an XX woman that identifies as a male, probably. That's just my gut feeling. But it went ahead and got fired. And there was a statement on there. Matter of fact, let me go back to it right quick. Statement's right here. I'm sorry, zoom in a little bit so you guys can see it. The statement says, quote, all these white people are going around talking to the press and speaking publicly on Twitter, and the only person who gets fired is the black person who was quiet the entire time, says a former employee in an interview with The Verge. That's absurd and just further shows that black trans people are the ones being targeted in this conversation. So, they outed them right there. They said black trans people, if you are a pregnant person and you're not using your pronouns, and then they say people that are black and trans are targeted, that means that you are transgender. I would presume. So, you know what? Anybody got time for you to be walking around pregnant, talking about something you were a man? It's like, whatever kind of game you want to play with yourself, great. Have fun with those games, but I'm not going to play your game, okay? I'm not going to do it, especially when you want to leak company metrics and stuff like that. That could be called espionage. Now you might go to the penitentiary, big rocks, little rocks. Anybody got time? You want to be an activist or whatever, okay, but now you crossing some legal boundaries. Don't get into all that. Don't be leaking private information. Now I'm a prosecute you and sue you on top of that. So you're going to be broke and in the joint, in the who's goo, in the slammer, in the clink. How about that? So the metrics said how much people paid for the closer and how many watched it. And that went into a Bloomberg report. Okay. And yeah, that's not what you do. Internal data leaking at Netflix, no way. I don't care what you want to house it as. That could be considered espionage. You going to the joint. You going to jail ASAP. But I like how Netflix is defending Dave Chappelle. Now, as far as Netflix itself, I'm not a fan of Netflix because it got some really nasty programming. I bought Netflix just to watch Dave Chappelle so I could review it and understand what's happening just for culture reference sake. But I have no intentions on keeping Netflix. None whatsoever. But Netflix knows that. They understand that some people are not going to get their service unless they have a thing that's undeniable, that you got to get it. What they call for video games, a system seller. I would not get that system if not for this particular game. I would not get Netflix if not for this particular show that I want to watch. That I got to see it. I'll remove it after, but I paid my $14 basically to watch Dave Chappelle's special. So they got their money back. It's like watching a movie. You're paying the same amount basically for a movie ticket. It's the same situation, right? No distribution, none of that. It's just straight streaming from their servers. It's easy money. But yeah, Netflix, not a fan of the company necessarily, but I support people supporting Dave Chappelle. And the special wasn't even offensive. It was really very nice to trans people. He had a heartfelt tribute to Daphne, I forget her name, pardon me, Daphne Dorman. Daphne Dorman was a transgender, I guess, comedian out there in the left coast, San Francisco, who ended up dying. Spoiler alert. Sorry, if you ain't seen it yet, it's not my fault, blame the white man. But anyway, it was a heartfelt tribute because Daphne wasn't really offended by the jokes. Dave could make trans jokes or whatever, and Daphne would laugh, and it'd be funny, right? Because it's funny. I don't care who you are. You could be black, white, gay, straight. It don't matter. If it's funny, it's funny. Laugh at it. So it was a heartfelt tribute. Really, it was kind of soft. But yet and still, you can't make jokes about these people. To some people, they get offended. They don't have joy in their life. They don't have joy in their heart. They can't laugh at themselves or anybody that they feel like is quote unquote marginalized. They're so brainwashed with this ideology that they can't laugh at a joke that's funny because they feel like it's offensive. Their thought process, their mind of their blocks in their mind get in the way of being able to enjoy comedy. And that's a kind of sad existence in my humble opinion, but it is what it is. Right? Now, matter of fact, hold on. I'll put this on the screen. The person, Daphne, had defended Dave Chappelle on Twitter, right? Because they were trying to cancel Dave Chappelle again or whatever back in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. This is wearing me out. I can't show this one because there's too many ads on it. But basically, Dave Chappelle was defended by Daphne Dorman's family. After Daphne had passed away, that person's family defended Dave Chappelle So it's like you can't win. You can't win. The only thing that they really acknowledge is when you do exactly as they say, their way or their highway. And Dave was like, nah, I'm just not going to do what you tell me. I'm going to do my own thing. And if you don't like it, so what? That's on you. I can't do nothing about it. I can't do nothing about your inability to accept a joke. But yeah, shout out to Dave Chappelle again. If you've not seen that, go ahead and see it. Now, is it special as funny as some of his other ones, some of his older ones? No. But it was funny. It's funnier than the 846, obviously. But it was good. I say check it out. Yeah, the controversy sells. Controversy does sell. They're going to watch and they're going to pay. They might not even like Dave Chappelle. They might not even be a fan of his. They may not know who he is. Hard as that is to believe. But they'll watch it because they keep hearing about it. Like this whole Squid Game thing. Have you guys seen Squid Game? I've not seen that yet. Well, I saw like the first 10 minutes of it. I don't have time like that, really. But I keep hearing about it. So since I have Netflix, why not? See how they get you? That's how the whole thing is. If the Squid Game thing was kind of paid to get promoted in a sort of organic way to where it became very popular and viral, I wouldn't be surprised. That could have been a marketing campaign that made it be very popular like that. So when they put out the Dave Chappelle special, they get a lot of steam, a lot of traction, a lot of attention. Then, okay, watch this too. Boom. So stay hooked on that. Watch Dave Chappelle and then keep browsing. Watch something else. Now they got you in a subscription. They understand that to be kind of their business model. So if you get in the way of that bag and you're trying to leak private information, engage in espionage, no, you got to go. I don't care what you identify as. You can identify as a transgender, pregnant, elf, dwarf, a ogre, a warthog. I don't care. So what? Go over there and do that there. All right. But that's pretty much everything I want to cover right now. Thank y'all again for joining. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. I got super chats on deck, and then I'm going to get to the calls. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. I'll get to the calls in about 5 to 10 minutes. Super chats on deck first, and then we get straight to the meat and potatoes. So let's go over here to where the super chats are, and let's get rocking and rolling. So let's see here. Where did we start? Today is the 16th, correct? Yes. All right. Let's go to where are we at? Oh, Apu, of course. Apu says Pete Buttigieg faked bicycle ride, now no work. Also, Pete Buttigieg is a fraud, but so are all the Democrats. Tracy Smocks, Black Christian vet, held in solitary D.C. jail for January 6th Capitol protest. Miscarriage of justice. God bless Patriot Freedom Project for help. Great live stream Thursday with Brandon Tatum, Jericho Green, and Oliver Mack. ABL, you're going to be at Brandon Tatum's book launch Tuesday, November 30th in Arizona. That'd be so much fun. Cheers. I do plan on that for sure. I'll let you know in the future very soon. Update. Van Jones cut you on that $100 million yet? I've not gotten $1 from Van Jones out of that $100 million. I've not gotten one red cent. All these black initiatives, you know, we support black streamers and black content creators and black this. I don't get calls for those things. I wonder why. Apple also says, ABL, you know Randy Moss, Jay Farrow. You say I know Randy Moss and Jay Farrow. I don't know them, but my family knows. My family knows Randy. That's a family friend. Like, we from Rand, so Rand's like 1,000 people. It's very small. Everybody knows everybody in Rand, okay? So my family knows him. I've not met Randy yet. Jay Farrow, I went to high school with Jay Farrow. I would see him all the time. I was a grade ahead of him, so I didn't really know Jay Farrow, but yeah, mutual friends and whatnot, but I did go to school with Jay Farrow. Also, do I have any more celebrities connections? Do any celebrities reach out to you? What celebrities do you respect? I'm not going to say what celebrities reached out to me because I don't know if they want me to do that. But celebrities do reach out to me all the time. I get all kind of blue checks in the DMs. It's always positive. It's always, you know, hey, thank you for your work, man. You do great. It's fantastic. So, yeah, they support. I met Alonzo Mourning in the airport, and Alonzo Mourning went to my same high school in Chesapeake, Virginia, Annie River High School. And I told him I met him. I told him that I went to River just by passing, and he kind of smiled and he was cool. But I don't really know. I mean a lot of people. I can't think right now. Who do I know celebrity wise? I've been to Timberland Studio in Virginia Beach, so I met his brother. I met a lot of artists that were trying to come up, a lot of producers. I got a lot of stories I don't want to tell right now because I'll be here all night. But I know a lot of people. Put it to you that way. Eric Burns Marsh says Northern Virginia is California East. Correct, 1,000%. It's California East, but political. It's a political California. Thank you, Trevor, for your donation. I appreciate you. Thank you to Eric Burns Marsh, who says, sorry I couldn't give more, but after I went to the grocery store with my $1 trillion coin, that's all I had left. Hilarious. We pretty much getting there, ain't we? You have a whole real barrel of money, a paper dollars to get a loaf of bread. Apple says, when you drive, ABL, radio, or personal music genre, well, I listen to personal. I don't have any music from I listen to Sirius XM usually, and I listen to pretty much rock station like 90s kind of like grungy type stuff, and then I listen to rap, and that's pretty much a country, something like that. I listen to whatever. I kind of like scroll through it on my dash, see what song is really hitting the spot at that moment. Let me see. ABL, Seattle Element School Band Halloween saying that marginalized people of color. Teachers going to replace trick or treat with lessons on autumn art. I mean, I want to know the explanation of how it marginalizes people of color. I want to see that. I saw Black Conservative Perspective did a video on that, but I didn't watch it because I don't want to take his thunder. Shout out to him, BCP. Great channel, sir, as always. You know, you do a great job. I told you that before when you want to show with B. Tatum. But I've not watched this video. I want to hear how blacks or, you know, people of color are marginalized from Halloween. When I was a kid, I always trick-or-treated. I was in high school trying to trick-or-treat. I'm big. My neighbor was like, are you driving yet? But anyway, I enjoyed trick-or-treating when I was a kid. Very fun. I was never marginalized in trick-or-treating. I don't understand how that makes any sense. Anyway, thank you to Agatha for the super chat. I appreciate you. It's an emoji. I can't see what it is. Thank you for that, though. Apple also says Biden DOJ settles with McCabe, no jail, liar, and a fraud. Yeah, and they're trying to get benefits back too, right? I heard that. Because didn't Andy McCabe get fired before he was going to retire, so he couldn't get his benefits? Now they're trying to reinstate the benefits he was going to get before he got fired. So corrupt. Also, any Biden administration official resigned yet? No accountability. Nope. Favorite fun night game, billiards, bowling, at all of that. Yeah. Blast Radius says the word equality that the left uses must be attacked. First, they used it when it came to race, then LGBT. I guarantee in the future, they will try to claim adults and children are equal. Oh, yeah, they're doing that now. They're doing that right now. That's why they're trying to lower the voting age. You see where that's going? Oh, you could be 18, you could be 16, you could be 14. You see how they try to like chip away little by little? They're trying to flank you so you don't realize that they surrounded you at the end of it. Thank you to my man Charles Turner Jr., who says most border counties in western and southern Texas are turning red or have already done so. Donald Trump came fairly close to carrying Miami-Dade County, Florida's most populous last year. Right on. Thank you to Ian, who says, did you see Don Lemon double down on the horse dewormer with Sanjay Gupta after the Joe Rogan interview? Of course. Now, I played that earlier. I'm not surprised that Don Lemon doubled down on that because they did damage control. They realized that Sanjay was out there ruining the narrative. Sanjay needed to go in there and say, yes, you took horse dewormer. That's what it was. For him to say, oh, well, they shouldn't have said that. They said the wrong thing, blah, blah, blah. They did not like that too much at all. So he had to go back on CNN and basically do damage control and almost apologize for what he said. Apologize, but not really apologize, if you catch my drift. Greg Brown says, on Rogan, IVM, and your comment on those not understanding, many of the managed people do not watch intelligent channels such as this. You're right about that, and thank you for that. Ian Kenny also says, Slick Willie hospitalized, not sending my condolences. You know, I saw that Slick Willie got hospitalized, and they said non-COVID illness. It's like, why would you say something? Why say that? Why say that it wasn't the virus and then not say what it is? I guess they were saying, I guess the thought process is we don't want to say what it is, although we know, but we are going to say that it wasn't the virus. I mean, the whole thing is just so dumb with this. It's like you can't get any other illness other than the virus. That's the only way you can be sick. And if you don't have that, then they got to specify that you don't have it. The silliest thing. The flu's gone. Regular pneumonia, that's gone. Everything's virus. Everything. You could have throat cancer or something like that, virus. Heart attack, virus. It don't matter. Thank you to Evan for the thumbs up emoji. I appreciate that. Thank you to my man Matthew who says, note, IVM is FDA approved and used off-label. None of the CV-19 vaccines are approved. Even Pfizer is not. European version called Community was approved. Jess Corn says they never heard of off-label use. Exactly. Thank you to Jose Vasquez for the donation. Thank you to Terranius who says Buttigieg is off 2 months. I'll be fired after a couple of weeks, and this person was in charge of the DOT, Department of Transportation. Right on it. You got it. Thank you to I can't read your name. It's a bunch of L's and I's and J's. It's kind of like merging together. And I got my bad eyes. I can't see it. But thank you for your donation. Thank you to Angel Rivera who says, hey, ABL, Joe Rogan should sue CNN, pardon me, and make it as public as possible to bring that fake network down one step at a time. Remember Nick Salmon lawsuit, CNN will have to shape up or file Chapter 11 if lawsuits continue. Absolutely. I say sue them into the ground, sue them into the mud so they can't get back up. I say go ahead and do it for sure. For sure. All right, make sure I get everything else right here. Give me 1 second. All right. Shout out to my man Jericho Green. Jericho says, let's go, Brandon. Buttigieg is trash. Thank you for that, Jericho. I appreciate you. Thank you to Ian Kenny who says, did you see NPR accuse Dave Chappelle of using white privilege? They must believe that he's actually Clayton Bigsby. That's the dumbest thing in the world. Like, how does that saying have any more meaning? If you could be a black person and use white privilege, then what is white privilege? I just don't understand, because someone will say that a white person is successful because they have white privilege, right? That's what they'll say. But then if a black person is also successful, how can they still screech white privilege? It's just the stupidest thing in the world. Thank you to Gary for being a brand new ABL supporter. Thank you for that. Shout out to Ian again who says, have you heard the song This Is a War by High Res? Check it out if you haven't. We need to take the culture back. I've not seen that, but I'll check it out. Santo Bartes says, China launched a hypersonic missile capable of circling the Earth. Yet we have generals concerned about woke ideas like white rage. Odd how Milley's act of treason went unchecked, if not encouraged. Yeah, you're right about that. I think that times are just too good in America and everything is just fine. So people, how can I say, they don't take life seriously. They don't take the world seriously. Matter of fact, hold on. This is perfect, actually. When you said that, when I read that statement, I thought about a tweet I saw earlier, and my main man, Jack Posobiec, posted my mind. I mean, we're like right here. So here is what you were talking about and what I was thinking. So here's what you said right here. Just then, China tested a nuclear capable hypersonic gliding vehicle to travel around the globe through low orbit in space before cruising to the target. Okay, so the U.S., we're stunned by this. It's a nuke-capable hypersonic gliding vehicle that travel around the globe like a whole UFO. Nuclear. And then what do we do here? Major General Joe Claiborne Is it a male or a female? I have no idea. But anyway, the tweet from this person says, why the Army thinks a French manicure is, quote, an obnoxious color compared to the civilian world, which views it as an understated yet professional look, is beyond me. But I have to be in uniform tomorrow, so here we are. It looked nice while it lasted. So what you're seeing here is kind of inappropriate, honestly. The person, the Major General with a blue check, there's a picture of them at, I guess, a desk. Their feet are on the desk with no socks or shoes on, so you see their toenails painted red. I don't want to see them dogs barking, okay? I don't want to see that right there. And they have, well, it's like tinfoil or something like that on their fingertips. I'm not sure what's happening there. Are they trying to cover their fingers up? Or are they getting their nails done? Regardless of what's going on, you're a major general tweeting about your nails, your mani-pedi. Why? From your official account with you in uniform. Why? China, oh, we got these brand new weapons. US, they're stunned. And as a matter of fact, I saw something else earlier in the week where someone was talking about our cyber intelligence, and the person in the US official, they said that what we have is like preschool compared to what China has. So China, I mean, people got their eye on Russia. Russia is not the problem. China is the actual problem. They make everything for us. They got all these crazy advanced weapons. Their cyber attacks are just something totally else outside of this world. We got to play catch up. But what are we worried about? We're worried about mani-pedis. We're worried about gender identity and keeping everybody nice and comfy and cool. When the things, when the stuff hits the fan, then things will change. Then it's going to be like, hey, you know what? I've not eaten food in a few days. I'm starving to death. What am I going to do? Then things will change. Thank you, Devin, for your donation. Devin says, Illinois Joliet Diocese Church choirs going back to singing this weekend. First time in 18 months. Is there an election coming up? Yep, sure is. And thank you to Michael Bacchus for your donation with the shocked emoji. Yeah, for that low Earth orbit vehicle. What is it? What do it mean, a vehicle? A UFO? With a nuke on it? And they could just glide to a target? Imagine that. You got a whole UFO coming around in orbit and then just hitting somewhere, some crazy target in the U.S. Everybody would be, if that happens, the world would change instantly, right away. But meanwhile, hey, I got my nails ain't done right, and I'm mad about my nails, and I got to fix my nails because he said there was something wrong with it, or this, that, and the third. Silliest stuff in the world. But anyway, let's get to the calls. The number to call is 434-658. There it is, 434-658-1220. The number is also always in the description box below the video. And thank y'all again for being here. If you're listening to the audio stream, go ahead and give me a 5-star rating, a review, whatever you can. Thank you for that. And all my links to everything, my sponsors and my email, my snail mail, everything is in the description box below. So let's check it out. And let's turn up Skype if it wants to work right. If it doesn't, it's not my fault. Don't blame me. Blame the white man for that. So let's get to it. There's also an email in the box below if you want to use that to call in. And we can go ahead and get rolling here. 865 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
You're speaking to Lori from back in the hills again.
All righty. What's going on?
Well, I just wanted to call in tonight and hit on a few things. You were talking about the government getting into our business as far as our checking accounts being concerned. Well, my family come from West Virginia and from back up in the hills up around the northwestern area up around the Canaan Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And, people up that way, they do things a little bit different. So I think what's going to happen is people are going to go back to the old ways where they're going to barter and trade, instead of having money transferred from hand to hand and then to the bank account, it's going to be like, well, you go mow Granny's grass and Granny will give you a dozen eggs for a week.
Yeah, I think so. It's going to have to be that, because if you don't have anything else, you got to do something to be able to keep on moving. So it'll definitely be that for sure.
Yeah, eventually a dozen eggs is going to be worth $10 anyway. So, mowing the grass is going to be well worth it.
That's right. Absolutely.
But you're not going to be able to stick your money under the mattress, because that's going to be the first place they look.
Straight to the mattress. That's going to be gone right away. So that's not going to work out too well.
No, we was taught to put our money in a mason jar and bury it in the backyard.
Yeah, that's smart, because they got to find it that way. It's going to be kind of hard to go out there with a shovel and just be digging. So that's smart.
Yeah, that's what we was taught, and I think maybe that was left over from the Depression days, when people lost their money in the market. So rather than trust your money to the market or anybody, you just kept it buried in the backyard where it was safe.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
But I think what you see people, they'll dig that zing, they'll run moonshine, they'll find ways to get around the government.
Yeah, I mean, without having all the government here and everything that we have today, and people will make it. They'll still survive, because we did it before. It wasn't always this big government all the time. People got hooked on it, and now it's like if they can't live without it in their mind, but they can live without it.
Well, yeah, I know I can live without it. Well, and something else I wanted to hit on. You remember back when the epidemic was real bad, they wanted your antibodies if you had the COVID, because they were wanting to give it to other people. To bring them through the disease. You don't hear about that no more, do you?
I sure don't. Everything is all about the vax, and it's like, well, I heard some other ways before this big push, so those didn't go away. I have a pretty sharp memory here.
Yeah, so do I. So, given the antibodies, no, you can't do that no more. Your antibodies ain't good enough.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And then something else I wanted to touch on was the ABC XYZ people. To me, they're like babies, and they want to stand out, but, you do the least little thing to them, and they get mad, and they start throwing a temper tantrum. And what I found out when I was raising kids and babies, when they went to have a throwdown, a temper tantrum, if you ignored them, after 3 or 4 times, they realized the temper tantrum wasn't working, they quit doing it. And then if they bring the temper tantrum to you, you're like, just take your tantrum somewhere else, because I don't want to hear about it and I don't want to see it. So you just go over there in the corner and be mad by yourself. So, I think if people were to start doing that, you'd see a lot of this nonsense go away.
Right on. That's why I like what Netflix did as far as firing the person rather than giving all this extra attention and trying to please them and stuff like that. Because when you do that, it'll get worse at that point, because they know all I got to do to get some attention and validation is just act up. Just act crazy, act a fool, then I get what I want. But if you don't get what you want, now you can't just, it makes no sense to go out there and act out that way.
Yeah, throw that little temper tantrum, go throw it in the corner by yourself, because nobody wants to see it or hear about it.
That's right.
So maybe they've made the first step in the right direction for other people, to follow, saying, yeah, we don't got to listen to them. We're just going to do what the hell we want to do. Excuse me.
No, I'm with you. Absolutely.
All right, and then I had another conspiracy theory. Today's conspiracy theory is tomorrow's news. But anyway, I'm thinking that maybe, and this could be bad, is that with everybody coming into the country, maybe the next election we could see maybe a terrorist attack right around election time, and I'm thinking that could be really bad for the country.
It definitely could happen. It really could, because they could kind of desperate, trying to figure out a way to get people's attention, to get people to kind of comply with certain things, or to get everybody to kind of go in one direction. That kind of happened this time with the virus, where it got really politicized, and they used that to their advantage to pass certain little laws and whatnot that changed the outcome, in my opinion. So they might try to do the same thing this time.
Well, I don't know if I'm talking about the Democratic Party so much as the terrorists coming in and blowing something up.
Oh, okay.
And then the Democrats calling, oh, well, we can't the election can't be valid. Something blew up. Everybody's messed up. So therefore, we got to call off the election. And we won, by the way, and don't you dare talk about it.
Right. That makes sense.
Yep. All right. Well, I just had to come in and vent a little bit tonight. You had me fired up. You're doing pretty good tonight.
Thank you for the call. I definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, you were really steaming.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for taking me. Bye-bye.
All right, shout out to the caller. Great call. And thank y'all for being here yet again. Couldn't do it without y'all. Let me get to the next one here. 912, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, ABL. It's Johanna from South Georgia.
All righty, what's going on?
There's several things I want to get into, and after that, I'm pretty much going to let you speak your piece on that.
All right.
The first thing is I'm going to hop on getting a pedicure is more important than other world issues. So the way I pretty much feel about that is you did a show a while back, not sure how long ago it is, where you showed the comparisons of it was the Chinese military, Russian military, and pretty much now American military. And it reminded me of that.
Yeah, that's kind of what's going on. It's like the other militaries around the world, they're getting prepared for something serious. They're not playing games and not trying to cater to the LGBT, all that kind of stuff. But over here, it's not quite that way. It's going a different direction that it shouldn't be going in.
Yeah, it definitely is. The second issue is Dave Chappelle, my favorite comedian, literally of all time. So my husband and I, a few years back, we actually canceled our Netflix subscription. We only ended up getting it back to see, what's going on, in this current special that caused so much controversy. And yeah, he pretty much, he hit it dead on the nail, and a lot of people got offended apparently, and they just proved his point. And this is the way I feel on that issue. It's not like we're out there trying to force people and we're marching the streets having a straight pride festival. I mean, yet that hasn't happened, I don't think, so to speak.
Right, yeah, not quite yet.
And let's see, the last issue, I pretty much feel like this is based on the Virginia school issue and a lot more school issues that have happened. My spirit animal of pretty much Candace Owens, like a long time before she said it, I'd started to feel this way. I do not have any children yet, but whenever I do, my husband and I, we plan to homeschool them because a lot of things that are going on in schools right now we don't agree with. The main thing is literally pretty much people wanting to segregate schools again, and we just don't do that. We don't raise hate.
Yeah, like let's not, and the school system, that's like a battleground in itself. They're trying to take that over because they know that if they get the kids at an early age, then they could just mold them into whatever they want. And they know that they're around children more than the parents are a lot of times. So they have the upper hand in that situation. And it's going to be hard for the parents to battle all these things. You got social media, you got public schools, you got television, you got everything preaching one message, and then the parents got to come in and try to deprogram all that. So people are just leaving and saying, you know what, rather than going to public school, let's do homeschool. It could be very hard for some people, but it's ultimately the best direction to go.
Yeah, definitely. And last thing I'll say before I leave, back on the Dave Chappelle thing, people, I don't know, a lot of people, they must be out of their mind if they're offended by that. I mean, if Mel Brooks came out with Blazing Saddles in this day and age, they would really be offended.
Very much so.
They need to just let go. I mean, it's called comedy. It's definitely called comedy. But with that, I'll say goodbye and thank you for what you do. You stay blessed and have a good night.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate you. Thanks. All right. Yeah, great call. Shout out to everybody calling in tonight. You guys are the best anywhere in the world. 850, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, can you hear me?
I hear you well.
Awesome. Hey, I want to ask Anthony about two things. I want to know what his feelings are about Herman Cain, and I also want to know about what his opinion is of Candace Owens.
Well, I am Anthony, so you're speaking to me right now.
Awesome. Okay.
Okay, so about Herman Cain, I like Herman Cain. May he rest in peace. I met him briefly one time in Atlanta. Nice man, really down to earth. And what I like about him the most was, his business sense. That's really kind of what I'm about. Because I've been self-employed for about 15 years since I've been, very young man out of college. And he is somebody that I looked up to as a way to stay strong and develop your business and stay disciplined. So, yeah, Herman Cain, may he rest in peace. Very unfortunate that he passed. Now, as far as Candace Owens, fan of hers as well. I met her a few times. A very strong person, but not super masculine or nothing like that. Still feminine, which is very difficult sometimes for young ladies to do. It's a balance between being kind of a hard edge and having that strength that you got to have to be out here dealing with all these trolls, because it's like anytime something happens and people want to bring up a conservative person that's controversial, it's like they go to Candace Owens right away. And it's so much hate. It's so much hate. It's so much. I don't really get that much hate personally. I'm not as popular as she is, but she's so popular and so good at what she does. She gets a lot of hate. So yeah, I'll defend her all the time. She's been nothing but good to me. Anytime I had any kind of interactions with her, really, really great person. Shout out to her.
I agree. And, I loved Herman Cain and his radio show. I listened to it for years. He had great ideas about what we should do in American culture and in legislation. And it was very unfortunate. I never really even heard, why he died of COVID. If he had extra things or whatever, they just kind of skipped over his death. And I really was upset about that. And as far as Candace Owens, there's so many people that don't like her because they call her an Uncle Tom, and it's such bullshit. Because
hold on, you can't curse. You can't curse though.
Oh, sorry. Well, she is not a person. She's very intelligent. She's not an Uncle Tom. And she has a lot of great ideas, and a lot of points that she makes are very intelligent. And I just can't understand the hate. That's all I've got to say. And I love your show. So glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Anthony, bye.
Shout out to the caller. Great call. But yeah, Candace is a great person. I mean, really, people just hate her for no reason. And a lot of that, it becomes envy with women sometimes, or even from the men. People, like some men I see kind of envious of, pretty women. That's kind of soft to me. If you're a man envious of a woman, you're just soft, period. And stop being soft. Be a man. Regardless, you don't got to be Mr. Tough Guy trying to beat everybody up, but be a man. All righty, Matt, what's going on?
Anthony, what's happening?
Everything's all right, man. Can't complain.
Hey, did you hear that Joe Biden is going to take maternity leave or paternity leave?
Is that right? You got some kids he's adopting?
No, Hunter became born again. He started going to church, and Joe decided to
he's a brand new baby now. Huh? Okay.
Yeah. Man, I think so. We've come full circle on this whole secession thing. Because I think you think I'm nuts, and probably most of your audience does. But these polls that have been out, man, more Republicans than not now favor secession, and 46% of Democrats do as well. I think we're a failed state. This is getting ready to go down.
Now, I think what happened first is states breaking apart within themselves, but not leaving the union. I think that'll happen first, rather than the U.S. as a whole breaking up. I think you see California break up. I think Virginia, places like that, where you have places that are totally like Northern Virginia and the rest of Virginia are night and day. Places like that may want to break up, but as far as the union breaking up, I'm not sure that's going to happen.
Well, it's to break off from another state without that state's consent. You actually have to re-petition to join the United States.
Okay.
So I mean, it could just happen unilaterally, like Virginia and West Virginia. Like Virginia the western part kind of petitioned the United States prior to breaking up to say, hey, if we can keep our slaves, would you mind us joining the union, that kind of thing. So, I mean, the right of secession is, I mean, it's not codified, but there's some rules to it. I'm the one that pointed out about the, I had refused anthrax when I was in the military, and there's a lot of troops that are going to get an OTH discharge, and I'm kind of working with some veterans, local veterans groups, about giving them a service medal. Like, it'd be sweet if the VFW or somebody would kind of step up and say, hey, y'all are refusing a vaccine. That's an honorable thing by us. And there might be some kind of third-party workarounds, but they're giving these guys dishonorable discharges and other than honorable discharges for not taking a vaccine that's not even FDA approved. So the Pfizer one, like I pointed out, that's not approved here. I make aircraft parts. That's what I do. And even though the Pfizer one and the Culvermane, however the hell you say it, even though it's the same ingredients and the same process, your facility is probably the biggest part of a government certification. It's more so than the formula. You have to have certified facilities. None of our facilities have been certified. And some have already been, they've had to have recalls on ones that have made the Johnson & Johnson, for example, because they got contaminated. Have you heard about this?
What, as far as the Johnson & Johnson having a contamination?
Yeah, like early on they had contamination, but have you heard that none of the vaccines are FDA approved?
Well, I've been hearing that, but I heard that the Pfizer, like I'm hearing different things about the Pfizer. Some are saying that it is approved, some are saying that it's not the one that's here. So I'm not exactly sure which one is correct.
The nuance on that, it is the Pfizer one that they say was approved. But like I said, it's the facilities. Nobody in the United States is certified to manufacture it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean that's more than half the certification right there. And we got the same thing like that on the FDA side of the fence. What you said about Herman Cain kind of, man, that guy, who could find any fault in that guy whatsoever? I mean, he was a good man, and some people that I know and respect, I've caught them kind of laughing at something called the Herman Cain Award. Have you heard of this?
No.
So there's a whole Reddit, and we're talking like 750,000 people that are subscribed and contributed to it, where they're celebrating. The Herman Cain Award is somebody like the basketball player that would refuse the vaccine and dies. They call it the Herman Cain Award. So they've taken his namesake and they're basically dancing on his grave. And if people can do that, then people can, I swear, they can come to your house and round up your guns. They can round up your kids and vaccinate them without your knowledge, just like they did in Australia. Winter's coming, and it ain't gonna last, man. But that's all I got for you, and I appreciate. Oh, and the kinetic weapons, the hypersonic gliders, those are, the whole purpose of those is that any anti-ICBM and even a lot of the detection systems that we have currently, it makes them null and void.
Right.
I mean, these things will come down from space. They do like a maneuver, like a pull-up maneuver close to the ground, and they're hypersonic. I mean, and so there's no way you could scramble anything to get them. So I mean, it's sort of like a new mutual assured destruction, like submarines. So China's kind of bypassed the whole submarine thing, and they would stomp a mud puddle in our A. Like they
instantly, yeah.
I'm looking at their aircraft and stuff like that. It's our F-35. We can't even maintain the things, let alone could we afford to buy them. They've got things that over there, like even the Russians, that are a quarter of the price and every bit as good. So that's all I got for you, man. Be good.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, China, I've been saying for a while, China is the actual issue here, not Russia or, somewhere else. Now, I have a picture for you guys I want to show right quick. But we know about the supply chain problems and some of the problems with stocking and whatnot at the problems with stocking at some of these grocery stores. Let me try to put this on the screen right quick. Hold on. Are you guys seeing this? So what you have here is, all right, let me try to zoom in a little bit. It appears to be like a regular store shelf with products on it, right? Like a grocery store or something like a Walmart. But look, it's like a sheet of paper covering empty shelves. And the paper has products printed on it, so you think that everything is full, but in reality it's not. Hey, let's go, Brandon, right? This is what, you know, this is supply chain problems. And the wording is in English, so I suppose that this is somewhere in the US. And I see dollar signs, so it's definitely US. I'm seeing English. Okay. This is where we at now. This is where we are now. You got to print out sheets of probably like vinyl or something like that, vinyl banners of food products to cover the empty shelves where the food products should be. That's where we at. Hey, Build Back Better, right? Build Back Better vinyl banners with fake food products on them. It's crazy. Yeah, North Korea stuff. Exactly. 100%. All right, let's go to some more here. Let's go. Walmart 501. You know, line who I'm speaking to.
Look, it's like a sheet of paper. This is Blake in Arkansas.
All
hey,
right.
I was wondering why my comments are blocked on your stream there. I always have
I don't know.
to say and
I don't do anything with that, so I don't know.
Yeah, I still think you're a coward.
Okay, that's
I
great.
think you're
Have a
so
nice
shit.
day. It's like I don't even know what you're talking about, sir. I don't know. I don't have time to be blocking people. I mean, unless you over here just saying the N-word over and over, I'm not even going to see it. All right, let's go to the next one here. 571, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, how you doing, ABL?
I'm well. About yourself?
Doing all right, brother. Hey, look. So I wasn't gonna call, but you brought up Northern Virginia.
Yeah.
I'm from Northern Virginia, man. Commuted, brought my family, me, my two girls, and my wife from Northern Virginia, all the way down to rural North Carolina. There's a difference that I want everybody to understand right now that's listening. For years, you know, I grew up in North Carolina, man, right outside the DMV. Fairfax County, went to Fairfax County schools. I got people in Loudoun County. I know sheriffs in Loudoun County. The stuff that's happening right now, it's a lot bigger than what we can really see, right? So for, I want to say the better part of about 5 years, you know, I voted for Obama twice, right? That was my bad, right? First time it was like, hey, it's a brother, you got to get him in, you know what I mean? And then the second time was like, you know, got to give a brother a second chance, right? So I think the overall message that I'm trying to convey is that as far as Northern Virginia is concerned, it is going to remain blue. And the reason why I say that, unfortunately, and the reason why we had to move out of here or out here to rural North Carolina, you know, we got chickens in the backyard, man. I got a little bit of acreage, you know, something that I didn't have in the DMV because it's so tight, right?
Right.
I think one of the biggest problems is that you have a Northern Virginia, you have an Ashburn, you have Loudoun County, you have Fairfax County, you have, you know, Arlington is sitting there too. That's all considered Prince William County. That's all considered that, right? I've had numerous conversations with different politicians like Senator Jeremy McPike, you know, just on gun control alone, because, you know, we had a little community that was totally for, you know, Second Amendment rights, but then we had a couple different businesses that tried to open, and, you know, it was a problem. So I was like, man, there's something going on a little bit deeper than this. You know, the whole thing with critical race theory, the whole thing with, you know, everything that's going on in these schools now, I can tell you, you know, I know a lot of people are listening, so I'm not going to get too far into details, but I can talk to you about that, send you an email like on a later date or something like that, you know. So there are victims that I know personally not of the transgender, things that have been going on and stuff like that, but victims of rape and molestation within Northern Virginia that the police didn't do anything about because there were politics involved.
Oh.
So it came to a point where, it was just, it didn't make sense to me. I got a 13-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old baby. So it just didn't make sense to me, man. Got my child into a charter school now down here in North Carolina, and it's beautiful, man. Like I don't have to worry about, not anymore, right? I don't have to worry about all these politics and things that's going on right now, And I think that was the biggest thing for us is like moving down here is totally different, man. I walk, I see people, now, just being from Northern Virginia, I see people now, and they just walk up to you, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, man, no, I don't know, man. It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I can tell from you, I can tell from you coming from, the Tidewater area. I got people down there in Virginia Beach. I know how I go down there too. It's the same deal, right? You moving to Tennessee, I'm sure. It was a culture shock, and I think a lot of people need that. I think we need that as a society, right? Secession, I ain't even gonna get into all that, but I'm just saying, like, if everybody just kind of steps away a little bit, just saying, okay, maybe this is an option for, my family, my life, to make that decision, right? And people always say, like, they're like, oh man, I don't have the money to do it, or I don't have the resources to do it and all that. But I'm like, sometimes you just gotta rip the Band-Aid off. You gotta do a little bit of research and you gotta get out. Because I'm trying to get my mother and my father down to South Carolina. Like, we're trying to, we're trying to do things for our family. You know what I mean? I got family in Atlanta too that they trying to move things out. And I don't come from humble beginnings, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like, my family got a little bit of money. Right? I'm just gonna be honest. But in the same token, though, I had to step away from all that because all that money came from the democratic thought process, the liberal thought process that everything's supposed to be given to you. So me coming out here, man, I got my own chickens. I got a little bit of land. I'm growing some spicy peppers, some Trinidadian scorpion peppers out here. We're doing it. We're trying to do that here, and we're creating a community out here, right? I got flags that I just give away to my neighbors, right? American flags that I give away to my Gadsden flags that I give away to my neighbors. Right? I'm like, if you want this, it's yours. We host barbecues, and we're trying to create a community because eventually we're gonna need each other. Being out there in Northern Virginia, the DMV area, you can't do that because it's every man for themselves, every woman for themselves, right? And now they're trying to attack kids. So I don't know, man. I'm just saying, for anybody that's listening within the reach of my voice, if you can't afford not to think about doing it. You can't afford not thinking about moving out. I'm not saying you abandoning your community and your culture and all that, man. Bring your community down there, but don't bring, those thoughts, the way that you think politically down here. Like, it ain't gonna fly down here. North Carolina, man, we love our Second Amendment. We hold that dear and true to our hearts. But I'm from Virginia first, man. I got that in my blood. Tattoos, right. Virginia flag all over my body. You know what I'm saying? I'm VA all day, but at the same time, I can't shake it, man. I'm just saying, if you say you can't afford to do it, you can't afford not to at least look into it, man. I'm trying to tell y'all, man, it's about to get bad out there. It's about to get real bad out there. That's all I got to say, man. I appreciate you giving me the time, brother.
Thank you for the call, man. I definitely appreciate you.
Yeah,
he's right about that. I mean, Northern Virginia, that area, it's rough, man. It really is, and it's going to remain blue. Like, it's getting worse. Northern Virginia, look at it like this. the DC metro area is like a big city in itself. It's like a Minneapolis. It's big. It's big out there. And it's so deeply blue because of the government. Because all the jobs you get out there, a lot of it comes from the government. And a lot of the politicians are out there and things become political very quickly. All right, call him. 410, who am I speaking to? 410, hello.
Sorry, ABL. Yeah, this is Tom. I live across the street from Stonebridge High School in Ashburn, Virginia.
Okay, so is that where the father got arrested?
Yes, in Ashburn, and that's where the girl was sexually assaulted.
Oh, okay. Wow. So how was that? How was the news of that impacting you guys out there in that community?
Basically, the Washington Post, the Washington Compost covered everything up.
My next door neighbor had no idea what happened at Stonebridge High School. And basically the girl was raped in the bathroom by a boy with a dress. And that's why they were protesting at, before. And they transferred the boy to the other high school, the closer high school here. And then he did it again.
Wow. That's crazy. Totally crazy.
Yeah. Stonebridge High School is right across the street from me. So Loudoun County in Northern Virginia is the highest per capita income in the country. I work 2 jobs just to stay here. Fortunately, I don't have any kids in the school system now, but that's why everybody is protesting at the high school. The prosecuting attorney in Loudoun County is a Soros-appointed attorney, and that's why nothing will be done. The superintendent of the schools refuses to resign, and it's terrible here. It's absolutely terrible. So we do have hope. There's a guy named Scott Pio who's running for the House of Delegates, and I voted early because that's what the Democrat Party wants, so I will take advantage of it. But I went and voted for him for the House of Delegates, and anyway, very frustrating here. Very frustrating. I feel the same as the last caller. I want to get the heck out of here. I'm at ground zero in Ashburn, Virginia, and nothing is good here.
Now, are you able to leave, or are you still kind of like anchored there?
Well, I work 2 jobs, so I work at Dulles and I work another job, just to have enough to get by. I live in a townhouse, and, I'm thinking probably 4 years I can get out of here. Wish I could get out of here sooner, but I've got to make enough money to get out. That's why people live here. But your last caller was correct. Everybody is for themselves here. My next door neighbor's a CBP officer. Like I said, he had no idea what happened at the high school across the street.
Wow.
His kid he's got 2 kids, one at Virginia Tech and one at UVA. Our kid is at Northern Virginia Community College, so we don't really hear about everything that's going on at the high school. But, because I watch the conservative news like your feeds and Newsmax and the reputable, news, I knew about it. He had no idea. Can you believe that? He had no idea what was going on across the street because the local media has covered it all up.
I mean, that's obvious that it was a cover-up, because if you live right there across the street and you don't know what's going on, like where I live, we know everything that's going on around us. Our neighbors, we talk to each other. Everybody knows that the news is not covered up. So if you're right there, that's a clear sign of a cover-up. So when the news said that there was a cover-up, it actually did happen. I'm hearing it right from you guys on the ground. So it's crazy. And what you said about the Soros-appointed person, that kind of goes toward that as well, that there was a vested interest in this story being covered up and not known to the general public. Sad.
The reason that they covered it up was because the parents were down there at the school board originally complaining about the fact that the transgenders could use those bathrooms. And then all of a sudden, this girl got raped. Not only raped, and I don't know if I can use this word, but it starts with an S.
Okay? I got you, yeah.
Okay? Both in the bathroom after the parents were protesting, and so they covered it up. And then they transferred the transgender to the other high school right down the street, and it happened again last week, and that's why now you find out about it. And this guy was the one that Biden said is a domestic terrorist.
Yeah.
And can you imagine? I mean, I saw your video. I appreciated ABL, but we are pissed. We are pissed. I'm pissed, and it's so sad that nobody in this neighborhood, I mean, my next door neighbor is a CBP officer, had no idea. yelling across the back porch. I sent him some videos and everything. He had no idea what happened here. And that's how terrible this is in Northern Virginia. Everything's covered up. Unless, you hear it from your kids or, you watch the conservative news networks, you'll have no idea, because the Washington Compost and everything else, they just cover everything up, and it's despicable. Yes, I want to get the hell out of here, like your last caller. The prices are through the roof. I mean, it's probably a good time to move, but this is just the Democrat swamp. I'm surrounded. It's terrible.
I hear you, man. Well, I thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
I appreciate you, ABL. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay. Bye.
Yikes. That's rough. Well, the good thing about it is, not of that situation, obviously. That situation is all bad. The young girl being assaulted by that boy, and then the boy assaulted somebody else at a different school, and they tried to cover it up, and they did cover it up. Now it's coming out because he actually got locked up for it. He's in jail now. I'm not sure if it's a juvenile facility. I don't know what's going on. But the whole thing is, well, in Virginia, I'm not sure how old the boy is, but you can be charged as an adult in the state of Virginia at the age of 14. So I'm not really sure how old this boy is. But anyway, the good part about it is Northern Virginia, pardon me, is very expensive. So if you leave that area, come to Carolina, go somewhere else, it won't be as expensive as it is out there. Because I already know. I know just by driving through there how expensive it is. And, one of my cousins wanted me to go up there. Before I came out here to Tennessee, they were like, well, you went the wrong way. Come up to Northern Virginia, because he lives in D.C. And I was like, nah, I don't want to go to Northern Virginia, because at the time, this is many years ago, at the time I wasn't even really aware of how crazy it had gotten politically and socially. But I was just like, man, it's too expensive. I knew that like 10 years ago. So I know that it's not gotten any cheaper now. I know that it's expanded and gotten more expensive since then. When I was a kid, I remember them building that area up more. And now it's like a city. It's like a really big city. All the places put together, Annandale, Arlington, Falls Church, Fairfax, is all one big city. All right, we got some more calls here. Let's go ahead and get to them. 860, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, this is FNA Ranger Xbox.
All righty, man. What's going on?
Oh, living a dream here, stuck in Connecticut.
I hear you.
Yeah, that father wasn't actually raising hell at the school board meeting. He just went there to find out what's going on, because that assault happened months earlier, and he's, another woman who's part of the LGBT alphabet soup thing, and Girl Scout troop leader sitting there talking to his wife, inciting, a heated conversation. I don't believe her, blah, 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 blah. That's what started him to get off, because he was defending his wife at that time. He had an interview on Fox News. I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and he had no animosity towards the cops or anything. He was just upset, and rightfully so. I have a 12-year-old daughter, and I pity the fool, as Mr. T would say. I pity the fool.
I hear you 1,000%, loud and clear.
We got to do something about these. They're not Democrats. They're communists. These are communists.
Yeah.
They're not Democrats. They're communists. Communists, the top 0.5% has all the money and wealth, and everybody else gets all the misery and crapped on, As far as that school board and the principal and the teachers that covered it up, they should be charged as accomplices to rape of a minor. And they should be prosecuted and put in jail. And everyone in that area that's listening to you tonight, that's what you need to press your local district attorney on, and get him to do his job, or tell him he will be voted out of office. That's how you get that done. You say, you want to keep your job? You want to advance your political career? then these people need to go to jail and send a message to these communist teachers unions that we're not going to take it anymore. My child does not need to grow up to be racist. I teach my children to judge people on the way they treat them. And I know about racism. I was the only white boy in an all-black ghetto school in 1970 in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and they were having race riots in Detroit. And no child of any color should ever have to go through that, ever. And it just infuriates me that these people are supposed to have a higher education that are dumb as a box of rocks. I mean, there are black people out there that don't know who Thomas Sowell is. They don't know who Carol Swain is. They've never listened to them. They don't even know their life story. If they knew their life story, maybe they would stop and say, hey, wait a minute, because I don't know. I'm sorry for ranting. It's just infuriating how many black people hold on to the Democratic Party and call me a Trumpster or Trump nut or whatever. And it's like 230 black children did not die in the first 6 months in Chicago under Trump. And it just goes in one ear and out the other. It doesn't even bounce around. Climate change and white supremacy is killing black people. And that's what they go with. But the reef, the Great Barrier Reef, has gained coral, but they don't want to talk about it. Sky News Australia, they had a big thing about it. They said the scientists and the climate scares, they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about how the reef is blooming and coming back to life. 19% more coral than ever before. So anyway, that's all I got, brother. I love your show. Love you. Wish you nothing but all the best.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Yep, appreciate you too, and what you do, ABL. Love you. Bye.
Thank you. All right, great call. Shout out to my man, FNA Ranger Xbox. All right, and we got more, of course. All righty, 717, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, it's Moses. How you doing tonight?
Oh, well, how about yourself?
I'm doing very good, very good. So, did you hear that supposedly they put Ty Smith, the modern Renaissance man, as a domestic terrorist?
I saw something about that. Like I saw a video, like a thumbnail, but I didn't watch the video yet.
I saw that. I'm like, what in the world? How are you going to put that man as a domestic terrorist? What has he done wrong in his life,
Well, I guess because he's a parent talking at the school board meetings, I guess they don't want him to do that. So then they want to label him as a domestic terrorist.
Yeah. And it's funny because he posted a video today and he brought up a good point. The reason why they have the FIBs coming after us, and I said FIB is a Grand Theft Auto I've referenced, but I digress. The only reason they got the FIBs after us is because they're scared. They're scared, and they know that we still have the power. It's just how we're going to utilize that power to bring something good out of this, and this is something that frustrates me about people. They don't know what kind of power they have with their voice. Just get yourself out there. Don't be scared of these naysayers or the government, because the government are humans. They're just like you and me. They can feel pain. They can feel sadness. What's the difference? They have a boatload of money. So what? They're scared of us. And that's what we need to have done. Not to intimidate them. Let's not intimidate the government. Let's just let them know, hey, you work for us. The power is in our hands, not in yours.
Right on.
Yeah, so we just got to keep on fighting. We just got to keep on winning. That's just a word of encouragement that I want to get out there. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but you had a caller insult you. I'm kind of ticked off about that. I was kind of fired up about that because ABL, you are one of the many voices that has helped us through this time of uncertainty. And something that we could say, and I could maybe speak for everybody, that we appreciate you. Don't let anybody try to bring you down with those stupid insults.
Oh, no, it's all good. I thank you for that. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. So that's all I wanted to say. I'm just going to let you go. God bless you. God bless everybody in the chat. Keep doing what you're doing, and we're going to win this. We're going to win this. We just have to keep fighting. Get your voice out there. Do something to make a difference. Have a good night, ABL.
All right, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
All righty. Great call. Let's get to some more here. The number to call is 434-658-1220. And let me go to 989 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
God bless everybody in the chat.
Yeah, what's up?
Keep doing what you're doing.
And not too much. I got some noise in the background.
We're going to win this. We just have to keep fighting. Get your voice
What's
out
that?
there.
It's noise in the background.
Have a good night, ABL.
Definitely appreciate it. I got it down.
All righty. What's going on? I said noise in the background. Come on. Let's. Caller, can you hear me? All right, I'm sorry, but if you're calling into the show, please turn your speakers off in the background. Please do not have noise in the background because I can hear it. And if I can hear it, then the callers can hear it. So nobody can hear you when you're talking. And I can't hear you either because I hear everything at once. So let's not. Sorry for that, caller. I don't know what happened, but, let's keep on rocking. All righty, online, one speaker to 647. Oh, 647 didn't. Let's go to this one here. Let's go 971 on the line, my speaker to.
Hi, yeah, it's Christina Davin in Washington.
All righty, what's going on?
I just have an issue with how everything is labeled domestic terrorism anymore. Like if you're a mad parent or a prepper or, someone who doesn't want the vaccine, all of a sudden you're a domestic terrorist. Like, is the word even going to hold the value anymore?
I mean, it shouldn't, because at a certain point, it's like everyone is called the same thing. To some people that don't know any better, they won't realize that they're now calling everyone a domestic terrorist. I think they'll realize that it's improperly used when they get called a domestic terrorist. But by that time, it'll be too late, unfortunately for them.
It's getting kind of ridiculous.
It is. It really is. But that's how they do things. They try to use fear against people. So then it's nothing when people get attacked for no reason. Those that think that they are a domestic terrorist or they are a bad person won't really come to their defense. I think that's the whole mental game they're playing.
Yeah. So how long do you think the domestic terrorism wordage is going to be used?
As long as it works, as long as people believe in it, that could be until the person or the people that believe in it get called it themselves. Until everyone gets called that, I think it'll still work with some people, just not with everyone. I think after a certain period of time, some people will start to say, this doesn't make any sense, and then they'll wake up. But a lot of people, unfortunately, a lot of these normies out here are just not really going to get it at any point in time.
Yeah. Well, that's all I wanted to call about. I love you, ABL. You're one of the best.
I thank you for that. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. And thank you all for joining. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. So let's get to it here. 832, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello. Hey, Anthony. Just joking. Oh, speaking of which, have that person ever been found out? Because I haven't heard that caller in like so long. Or they've been banned,
I don't know. I don't know who that person is. I have no idea.
Oh, okay. Cool. All right. Well, I want to get a few things out, Mr. Logan. So first thing is I have like my index card. COVID experience. I did have the COVID. I was positive for it. And it just, I didn't like some of my people were saying, oh, you recovered from it? Oh, even if I were to get, have antibodies and they would say, oh, you got to get the vax, it's not going to help because I had the COVID from someone who already got the vaccination.
I mean,
so the whole, go ahead.
Now, people don't take that into consideration. Like you can still, I say it like every day. I feel like a broken record. People still don't understand. You understand it, but a lot of others don't understand that you can still transmit the virus, catch and spread, even if you have the vax. But people think that that's not possible. And every day I say the same thing, and every day people don't believe me. It's weird. I think that the fear campaign, it did wonders on the American public. It really did. They thought that this vax would be, the magic pill. Obviously, it's not.
That's so true. And let's see, another point. Do you think that most, liberals behind the closet, they are conservatives in a way, albeit they may not vote Republican or support Trump, but in a way, they are conservatives. Like, they will leave my state, California, go to a red state because they know it's cheaper. And their hard work, they do not like their hard work and their money being, redistributed.
Well, I think that a lot of normies, regular people who aren't political, don't really understand anything about politics at all. So they just pretty much, there's no standard upon which they set themselves. So whatever benefits them, they pretty much go for, whether it's a liberal policy or a conservative policy. They don't really understand. And they also don't understand what kinds of policies makes certain environments. So this is why they'll go to Texas from California and vote the exact same way they did in California. I think it's the right way to go. You're supposed to be for people and do the right thing. They've been brainwashed to think emotionally when it comes to voting. They don't even understand that they're voting for the very things that they escaped. They don't get it. It's a lot of ignorance going on. So they may be conservative if they had education, if they were aware of what's happening, but they're not. So they're not even really political at all. They just are ignorant.
But at least I'd give them that they have common sense where, okay, it's expensive there. We'll move to, like, your state, for example, Tennessee, the South. Because I think when they do that, deep down inside, of course, they're afraid to come out as a conservative to their friends. They do have some conservative instinct.
The problem is that they don't. They're not using their full brain. It's like they're kind of using it a little bit. It's like, okay, it's like here's an example. It's like, okay, if you're living in a house and this from the window to the wall just chock full of roaches, right? Chock full of roaches. Now your daily habits consist of eating food and throwing chicken bones with meat on it straight on the floor. Just disgusting types of eating habits and behavior, just a filthy house. And you have a roach motel. So you're like, you know what? I'm tired of all these roaches in my house. I'm going to move. And you move somewhere else to a brand new house with no roaches, all new furniture, everything, no roaches. And you continue those same patterns you had at the old house. And magically roaches come back. Because you didn't understand that it was you that was the problem. Your patterns that were the problem partly for your living situation. So they kind of got it a little bit, but not all the way.
Yeah, that makes sense. And also, the Democrats, it's not always just, because I know like TPUSA, all those patriot groups, they always try to say it's all, poor black and brown community, most Democrat. But now the Democrats are targeting my people, the Oriental immigrants, Hispanic, and pretty much working middle class. They're targeting them. And I have a coworker, he's hardworking, someone that believes in, doing the right thing, but he loves Bernie. I don't like Trump. It's just, these people are just desperate, the Democrat Party.
Yeah, I mean, they are, but see, I think they also with some people, they know that they have a strong grip, a stranglehold, and they're trying to increase it by whatever kind of way they can, and they play dirty. They play very dirty.
They do. Like I watched that, what was it called? It's by Denise D'Souza before the 2016 election. They had this scene with reenactment where these Democrats or try to get immigrants fresh off the boat or something. And they were like enticing with all this kind of policy stuff. And when I saw that, it speaks volumes because, I know that Oriental people, they're smart, they just, work hard, and they're one of the wealthiest, more wealthier than white, but they still would vote Democrat.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that they're able to kind of just get beyond that and get a little bit more education here. But thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, shout out to the caller. But yeah, people they take their same problems with them and they don't understand. It's like, why am I experiencing the same things out here that I experienced in California? I thought Texas was different. But it's like you moved to a place with a bunch of California expats, number one, and all you guys vote the exact same way you did when you were in Texas. So what else are you going to get from the situation other than the same thing you had in California? 3, 2, 1, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to? I was a little bit too slow to the trigger. Let's get to the next one. All right, let's go. And the phone lines are blowing up. I'm going to try to get to you guys as soon as possible. Y'all just hang tight. Can we do... Okay, hold on here. 864, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, this is Dennis, New York, Long Island. How you doing?
I'm well, man. How about yourself?
Great. Just, I've noticed, like, out of so many people in speaking about morals and what's right and what's wrong, and I noticed that people don't get to the bottom of this because it's whether or not morality is subjective or objective. And if we're the standard, people, imperfect humans, then how could we decide what's good and wrong? You understand what I mean?
Explain that a little bit more for me. Like, go into what your central point here.
My point is, everyone's talking about what's right and wrong with no moral standard. And being us that are imperfect humans, where do we get our standards from? If we all came from nothing, how could we be worth something? So, in actuality, I think that most conservatives have it right, where we have a creator made in his image. If he does not exist, then how do we get our value? Coming from nothing, evolution, or even creation, we all have a common ancestors. Racism makes no sense. We have different ethnicities, but we're all the same human race. And I feel all this about morals makes absolutely no sense if we have no standard above our own.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, even if you're not religious, you still have to rely upon, even if you are or are not religious, you still have to rely upon tradition, because your concept of religiosity comes from tradition. If you were never taught religion, if you were never given the Bible, Quran, or whatever it is, you would not know. You would not. Right. You wouldn't have that foundation, because if you were just here, just born, raised by wolves, you have no concept of what that is, because you had to get told by parents, grandparents, etc., what that is. So I think at a certain point we have a shared culture to a certain extent here in the U.S., Judeo-Christian, all kind of stuff like that, and some things that are seen as wrong and evil all over the world, regardless of what the culture is, generally. Okay, murder and assault, things like that. And then once you get into certain countries, you have things that we all pretty much agree on that are immoral and wrong. And then we have debates over other things that we consider to be immoral for our own reasons. And a lot of that could be scientific. A lot of that could be just tradition, religion, and whatnot. Prime example would be abortion. Now, there's an argument about when life begins. We're talking about heartbeat and things of that nature, things you can put into law. Now, you can't put into law because God created the baby, that the baby is a baby. You can't put that in the law. Separation of church and state, you can't do that. Correct. However, we can look at the scientific point of view.
Sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
We can, hold on, let me finish right quick. We can look at it from a scientific point of view. We could say that a baby has a heartbeat at 6 weeks. You can't kill a human being. It goes into the whole murder thing. So we could look at things you can look at it objectively and see what it is, just from a science point of view, from a logical, easily proven type of point of view. We can't put it into religion, because then at that point, we're not in that kind of society. We're not Iran or something like that, where it's an Islamic Republic. We're not there. So we can't operate that way over here in the States.
Right. And I think it's funny when people in power say separation of church and state. because, like George Orwell said in 1984, where science is in danger. 2 plus 2 can equal 5 now. Where if we're going to talk about science or what is true, it's either there is truth or there's lies. There's no middle ground. And so this whole concept of what is true is going out the window. Your callers are saying also they're covering up, because of this transgender situation. They can't make up their mind because they know it's inconsistent. And so logic and consistency is going out the window. Truth is in danger. Science is in danger.
Well, that's the beauty of America, because we have freedom of speech and the ability to debate things. And I think at a certain point, once you're able to have open debate, public debate, which is kind of in danger as well, that's a whole different thing.
Like you've been doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the way, just to be able to get out information and then to see whose ideas win, whose ideas lose, whose ideas are correct or incorrect. It's got to be a constant thing. It can't just be one standard set, because things change, new things happen, technology happens, and we find ourselves in new situations. So I think that it's got to be a consistent, ongoing thing to be able to figure out how we're going to manage and maneuver throughout the society. But thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Okay, ABL, thank you so much. And you be safe. You're brave. You're doing things that more people around the world should be doing. I appreciate all that you do. And I hope more ABLs and more other people like you rise up and take a stand, especially on YouTube or any other social media platform.
Thank you, man.
And
Appreciate
I
it.
hope the best for all your listeners, you included, in your family.
Thank you. Appreciate you. All right. Shout out to the caller. Now, somebody said that's not separation of church and state, but isn't it really? Because separation of church and state, you cannot establish a religion, right, from the state. So would an establishment come as a result of making the religious law, like you got to pray on Sunday or something like that? Wouldn't that establish a religion? Because if you create a law based on religion, like expressly, like with someone's in the Bible, I mean, maybe I'm wrong about that. Y'all let me know. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm just trying to say, like, you got to shy away from things that could violate that part of the Constitution. But I mean, what is that anymore, right? You could just pretty much do whatever you feel like. You got the right to bear arms, but is that even the case in some states? I'm not really sure. But if you make a law specifically about religion, meaning, okay, you can't kill a baby because it's God's creation. If you do something like that, then it's like, well, what God are we talking about? We're talking about, Holy Trinity. We're talking about God by himself. We're talking about Jesus Christ. We're talking about Muhammad, the prophet. Who are we talking about? But anyway, that's a whole different story. I don't want to go down that road right now. I don't want to offend nobody. I know our religion is. I don't want to get nobody offended. 619, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello, you're speaking to Patrick. How you doing this evening?
I'm well. About yourself?
Oh, not too bad. I just want to bring up something about this Long Beach debacle that's going on.
You said Long Beach?
Always talking about the. I'm sorry. Say that again.
You said Long Beach?
Yeah, that Long Beach. The cargo ships that are out in the sea.
Yeah.
I live in the area, and there are a whole lot of them out there. And yes, the trucking thing is an issue. However, the one thing that's not being brought up, the majority of it, if you thought about it, the railroaders are overworked.
You said what now?
The railroaders are overworked.
Oh, okay. So it's not enough of them? Like, what's going on? Like, why do you think the log jam is happening? Is it because there's too much coming in or not enough workers?
Not enough workers.
Okay.
I mean, because, the truckers and their little bylaws and I live in California, obviously, and the laws over here have got a stranglehold on people. And the two Class 1s out here, BNSF and Union Pacific, are banging on doors trying to get people to work. But because of the pandemic that happened at the beginning, they stabbed a lot of people in the back.
Yeah, I can imagine. And then people leaving as well. I would suppose that's probably a problem. So it's a logistics thing.
I'm sorry. That's also a thing too. I mean, because what is it? Union Pacific is forcing their employees to get the shot. However, the Brotherhood of Engineers and Trainmen of the Locomotive Engineers, the BLE-T, and they did a story on that. Don't like that because the actual railroaders can't negotiate with the workers. That's what the union is for.
Right.
So, there's a whole lot of stuff like that, but only UP is actually starting to, they're not going to call them firing them. They refer to it as medically disqualifying them if they don't get the shot by November 5th, which is just going to hurt the supply chain even more.
Exactly. It makes no sense. It's like, okay, you would think that they would try to relax some of these rules to get more workers because that's obviously the problem, but they're not. So they are going to cause more problems than what they fix. So it's just pretty silly.
Yeah. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense for what they're doing. I understand why they're doing it, but it just doesn't make any sense. But as I said, they don't have a whole lot of crews going on. So, most of the crews are working 6 days a week, and they're doing 12-hour shifts to get the bylaws is you work 6, get 2 off. That's the railroader's life right there. And yes, I am a railroader, full disclosure. So that's how that is.
Gotcha.
So it's I don't know what San Francisco port or any other ports like in Washington or Oregon look like, but it's only like down in the Los Angeles area that's where it looks like it's congested.
So how can they fix the problem? Can they fix the problem?
Well, as far as the truckers go, government needs to just ease off their stranglehold on the truckers, and railroading is a pretty tough job, and there's a big ass rule book that you have to know and follow. So there is no way of getting around that.
Right.
But having more qualified people would do that. Anybody on the West Coast, the biggest pain in the where is sitting at a crossing, waiting for a train to go by. Now these trains over there, you think, oh, they're a mile long. No, these intermodal trains, which is what these big cargo boxes go on, can be anywhere from 2 to 3 miles long.
Right.
So you're at a crossing for 10 or 12 minutes, and that 10 to 12 minutes over there could determine if you're late for work or not.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's all I can say about that is people are forgetting about they're concentrating on how to get the stuff off of the boat onto trucks, but they're forgetting about the railroad that brings them all over the place.
Makes a lot of sense. I didn't even think about it. I totally forgot about that part because you have a lot of different moving parts that have to work properly. And if one part is not working properly or optimally, then it's just not going to go very well. It's a very good point you make. Thank you for the call. I definitely appreciate you.
Hey, not a problem. You have a good evening.
All right. Shout out to the caller. 100%. All right. So we got a troll donating. Now, look, I don't have to block you here, but you about to get blocked. I don't even care about no money. You can have that back, really. Let me get to some more calls. Let's go. Okay. All right, call you online. Speaking to 647.
Andy, Brian Logan live?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are live.
Hello?
What's going on?
Wow. Hi, ABL. That's weird. That chick outside on my computer, she's still talking. Delayed reaction time.
Yeah, let's turn that down for me.
I gotta close this bathroom just so I get no feedback. Okay, can't close my door. All that junk's in the way. Anyway, you caught me off guard. I've been trying for an hour now to get on the air. I heard you yell at my area code about 25 minutes ago. I don't know where to start. I'm kind of in shock when I'm talking to you. Sorry, I'm mucking up right here. Didn't think that would happen. I just caught off guard in the bathroom. I was like, I'm gonna drink some of this kind of team and get out of here. Basically, I have to quote my left ear. Hold on. Basically, I'll start anyway. I have to improvise. I think rewarding. Okay, I heard Whitney Houston saying a song that something about children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Well, these kids are not being taught well. They're being indoctrinated with propaganda from Marxists or communists, whichever. Don't see much of a difference. It's not nitpick, tomato. And instead of being educated about biology and factual science, as in there's only 2 chromosomes, X and Y. X is male chromosomes, and Y is female chromosomes. They're being taught that they're alphabet people. And then when they believe the lie, they die by the lie. A lot of people, they live in a world of delusion, and they live illogically and irrationally, and they move upon a fake belief based on a fake or a false foundation. I'm trying to close this door so I don't hear feedback. And they end up with this mess that we have here today. Let me get something on the air.
Now you hear? I'm right. You live talking to me. I'm listening to you talk.
Oh, okay. What else can I talk about here? I'm really falling off. I'm used to falling off. I'm shocked that I'm even talking to you, man. I love your show. Let me try and think. I bet you if I hang on, I'll remember everything I want to talk about. With regards to an Israeli study, to the best of my recollection, our own antibodies work better than the so-called vaccination. And I've never seen so many people that I know personally that have everything from lost their monthly cycle as 2 females, they're not going back for their second shot because they lost their monthly cycle, to a guy I knew. And I'm like, where's this guy? He goes, here I am. I'm like, that's you? What happened? Why do you have no hair on your head? He goes, I was in critical condition. After I took the vaccination, I got blood clots and high blood pressure. I was in intensive care unit for 8 days. Well, I can't believe it. I can't believe he went for the second shot after losing all the hair off his head. This is very shocking. My body, my choice. But you see, when the Marxists and the tyrants and dictators want to move from, say, California to a Texas or to Florida, they're coming like a cancer because they, like you said, they bring their habits with them. It's like in this city here, which I won't mention, you have a lot of people that I'm like, these Latinas or these Satanists, these people who want to kill Christianity, truth, and health. If you look at this whole pattern for the past 10 years, they're attacking Christianity, truth, and health, which ultimately will destroy your health, your economy, and implode your country in every way, shape, form. And the devil, this thing about, when I was 15, I was like, Miss Graham, my high school teacher, she was like, do you think that if you have a black president, it's really going to change everything? If they become empowered, that they're not going to do what white people did? And I said, no, Miss Graham, but I was honest, innocent, and I was projecting. I personally would not, but I can tell you right now, in the words of Malcolm X's daughter, a black snake can bite you just as bad as a white snake. And there's a lot of, Obama, he's just foolishness. And as for Republican and Democrat or Demon Rat, if you remember Skull and Bones with Bush Sr., he didn't really do nice things for North America or the world. The devil comes in every shape, size, and color. And with regards to Texas people, Floridians letting all those cancers in, I would turn their backside out the door and tell them don't even come here.
That's right. That's right. Because you can't bring the same policies you had with you. But thank you for the call, man. I got a lot more on the line I got to get to. Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right.
All right. Shout out to him. But please, you guys, do not have the stream on in the background. If you're on speakerphone, let's not. If you got background noise, I can hear it and so can everybody else. So please, let's just not. All righty, let's get to some more callers here. All righty, 917, you're on. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, this is George from New York.
All righty, what's happening?
Good. Listen, first of all, thanks for taking my call. Once again, I lucked out. But listen, I was going to ask you, when you were growing up, were there any, how do I say, kind of like things that you kind of looked at for, or things that maybe like a TV show or pieces of entertainment that you looked at as an example of morality, or did you just get that from like your family?
That's a good question. Not really TV. I kind of knew that TV was just entertainment at a young age. It was just like a good show. Somebody might say Cosby Show, something like that, but nah, I saw that as I didn't even really see a lot of these shows that I would see on TV as real, because I knew that I didn't know anybody live like that. The Cosby Show, I'm in the hood. Like, what's that got to do with me? Like my my whole thing of my thing about morality came from really my family, just learning stuff and seeing things, just having my mom and my dad tell me stuff. Even though they weren't in the same house, I would just gain things from them. I would observe. I would kind of watch what's going on and how people were and how they would get treated by other people. I would just observe and just watch that way.
Right. I mean, so just I don't know about your past, but did you grow up with both parents in the household?
No, like my parents got divorced when I was like real, like a baby, like 2 or 3 years old. But my dad was always around. And, you know, I had a lot of family around, aunts, uncles, granddads, grandmas, and everybody, you know, male and female family influences that I just looked at and observed. Older cousins is like kind of like a sibling age. So that was my morality, you know, and also like being in school, had a really good school coming up. This is before the wokeness and all that kind of stuff really invaded. So I had pretty good teachers.
Like a lot. So this is like a lot earlier before, like much earlier before wokeness was introduced into, I guess, American culture. I would assume maybe it always was around, but maybe it wasn't as apparent as it is now. I guess
it wasn't anything like the way it is today. This is like in the 90s. So at that time, you know, it was pretty chill where I was living. Now maybe if you're living in a big city like New York, San Francisco, it would be different. But I'm in Southern Virginia. Everybody's kind of still country a little bit, so it wasn't really like that.
Right. Because I was sort of thinking like myself where, you know, even though like my parents did get separated, but it was like a little bit later, not maybe as young as you, but maybe, I don't know, maybe 9 or 10 or something. But it was it was kind of weird, like, because I saw my dad after that, but not really as much. But just to kind of bring it up, like, it's cool. It's funny that, not funny, but it's interesting that for you, television was just, you know, it was entertainment. It wasn't really, I don't think you really looked at things on television as anything, maybe, I could be wrong, profound or you know, more moral in a sense. But I do think that entertainment can introduce, you know, concepts of morality. You know, like there's this saying where if you can entertain, that's great. If you can entertain and enlighten, maybe that's even better. But you know, like, let's say for me, for example, real quick, like, you know, when I was a kid, like, I used to, and this leads back into the whole wokeness. Like, I used to go and look at, like, say, you used to have these, you know, cartoon shows or something, and I used to watch like Spider-Man. They had a show like on Fox or something, right? And it's weird because nowadays, like, I never, as a kid, I'm Hispanic, never in my mind that I look at like this Spider-Man character and say, oh, he's a white guy. It never even occurred to me.
Never. Nah, I never thought that either, because, you know, I'm watching cartoons and whatnot, X-Men, all that kind of stuff. I never thought, oh, Wolverine, I never thought Wolverine, he's white. I was like, we got the same name. My name is Logan. His name is Logan. We the same. That's what I thought when I was a kid.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So, but I just find it like interesting. But the reason I bring up the Spider-Man is because, like, I remember one time I was walking in New York, like, this was maybe a couple years back. I was walking into a store where they sell like hats, because I kind of like fedoras. I don't know, maybe it's like Indiana Jones or something. I always like fedoras. But I was kind of looking at hats, and there was a kid there, not kid, maybe it was maybe just got out of college, maybe, or just was in maybe first year college, and he was like an artist, and he was like sketching a Spider-Man. And I was talking to him, oh, this is, you're drawing Spider-Man, that's cool. And then he was talking about, because they introduced like this other Spider-Man now that's like Miles Morales Spider-Man, which is like a different Spider-Man. And I asked him, well, why do you like Miles, this new one, this Miles Morales Spider-Man? And he told me because he was black. And then I said, okay, and where, what more can we, can you give me like, what's the, what's the essence? Like why, okay, the skin, I got that part. What else? And he couldn't tell me that, but I found that really odd. Like I've never heard somebody say that they like a character because of, this is fake, by the way. None of this is real, but it's weird. It's really strange to me. I don't really like where this is going because we're kind of looking at the superficial things and we're not looking at the character, right? I thought it was about the character, right? Not the color. That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And I don't know. I feel like a lot of that is taught to people, because when I was a kid, it wasn't even really about that.
Right. Right, they didn't teach you that, right? I don't know. I don't know what they said.
Nah,
but,
they really didn't. It wasn't. I think a lot of that racial stuff is. I mean, you see racial differences as a kid, of course, but it wasn't really that serious or that deep. But thank you for the call, man. I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Take care.
All right, now.
All
right. Shout out to the caller. Hey, great call. Yeah, like this whole thing about race and Black Spider-Man and. Again, my last name Logan, Wolverine's first name Logan. We the same. I'm Logan too. That's what I thought when I was a kid, watching X-Men, eating some cinnamon Pop-Tarts on my bed in Portsmouth. That was me. I want this woke SJW type of, and I'm in the hood, where you might have to duck down in that bed to prevent bullets from coming through the window. It wasn't even. I ain't really care too much about that. Let's get to some more calls here. Let's go. All right, let's do. Okay. 972, you on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yo, Mr. ABL, this is Daryl, Unified TV.
All right, man. What's going on?
Hey, how you been, man?
Everything been good, man. Can't complain.
Yes, sir. Quick question. I know you're not covering that tonight. I didn't make it into the show last week to call, but I know you're not covering this tonight. But I had a question about the kid that did the school shooting in Arlington. My question to you was like, do you think that there's some type of false flag thing going on and some type of distraction, because the situation from top to bottom doesn't make sense at all, and to this day, you can't even dig up a court docket, and that's normally public record. You can look in the Arlington court system and you should be able to pull up the docket by his name. And there's no court docket. The fact that he bonded out so fast, the whole situation top to bottom doesn't make sense, basically. And so I was kind of wondering what your feelings were on that. Do you get kind of are you kind of catching wind of a possible false flag event?
I've not heard that. But it's possible, I suppose. But I've never heard anything about a false flag event when it comes to that. But again, it's possible. You never know, because I've seen crazier things for sure. But I just don't really know.
Gotcha. Okay, that's all I really wanted to know, because something about it just doesn't sit right with me. And it still don't sit right. It doesn't make sense. And then the whole celebration was very disingenuous. Very inconsiderate as well. I mean, celebrating your kid coming home, and the other person's kid may not ever get out of the hospital. You never know how that's going to go. And I just think it was a selfish move for them to not only celebrate, but then to advertise their celebration. And it's just disrespectful in my opinion. But yeah, man, enjoying the show as always. Enjoying all your videos as always. And I'll catch you with you soon. And I'll be looking forward to maybe one day being a guest on your panel. Brandon's panel with you on it one of these days, man. That's what I'm working up to. So hopefully we can see that happen.
Right on, man. Absolutely. That'd be a good one, man. Appreciate your call.
Yes, sir.
All right. Shout out to my main man, Unified TV. Y'all follow him on the Instagrams. I'm not sure if he has a YouTube channel, but definitely on Instagram, maybe YouTube as well. All right, Tariq, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, man? Just continue on this Dave Chappelle fiasco, man. I'm really happy that Netflix is siding with Dave Chappelle, man. I'm shocked because Netflix is typically a liberal company, and the fact that they are not only siding with Dave Chappelle, they sitting up here firing these transgenders. I'm in shock. But the thing is, the way the media reports it is just so disingenuous because the media reports it as if they're firing transgenders just because they're trans. But some of these, I think one of the transgenders got fired because they just barged in a meeting that they weren't
Yeah.
even a part of, a director's meeting. Just disrespectful. This is not your damn. Oh, I'm sorry. This is not your dang company. So you can't just charge in some meeting like that. Disrespectful. Second thing, someone else is leaking how much Dave Chappelle was paid, sabotaging the company from within. And these companies are gonna have to take a step back and look at who they're hiring.
Yes.
I'm sorry, man. You're gonna have to look at these people's social media. If all they talk about is liberal nonsense such as gender politics and stuff like that, you may not want to hire them to your company because these are the people that stage walkouts. These people go on Twitter and trash talk a company that is paying them to bring them down. And I feel like the only reason why Netflix and these stupid companies hire them is just to fulfill some diversity quota and to get pats on the back showing, look at how diverse we are. We got LGBT, we got this and that. And a lot of these people are traitors to this company. So, Netflix, I'm kind of, and another side of me is kind of glad that they're going through this internal strife. They got a whole Netflix LGBT Twitter page. And my thing is like, why do you guys have to do this? Why do y'all need a separate Netflix Twitter page that address LGBT issues? Like, the whole problem I have with this ally stuff, because here's what they'll say. Oh, you're not being a good ally. You need to be an ally to trans people, LGBT. The problem is if I'm going to be an ally to you, it better go both ways. An ally is not me being a straight person, always big upping you, always giving opportunities to you, always defending you, putting my economic resource into you, but you do nothing for me. You every time you talk about me or like heterosexual people, it's always in a negative connotation. It's good. You are constantly canceling me. You are taking things what I say out of context to make me look bad. That's not an allyship. I'm sorry. So no, we don't have to be allies with you. Now we can be, we can have mutual respect for each other, but this allyship is nonsense. And you can see how it's working through with Netflix. Netflix want to be an ally so bad. You hire these people and they turn against you and it makes you look bad. And the other thing I just want to say about the special, especially what black trans people are saying, which is frustrating, is they say things like Dave Chappelle's special is on the backs of trans people dying, especially black trans. Now the problem I have with that, especially black trans statement, is this: they designed to make straight black men look bad. Because what you're saying is that straight black men, we're just out here killing transgenders, like we're just animals. Like we see a transgender, we just kill them. There's never any context. I want to know in these trans deaths, what is the reason why they're dying? You can't, because everyone is dying, bro. I can say straight black men is dying. I can say black women is dying. Any group, you can say we're all dying. There is no group on earth who is not being murdered. So I don't want to hear that. I want to hear why you're dying. Like, what's the context? Is it you are engaging in heterosexual relationships and may not tell them? We don't know. Are you being killed by another gay person or transgender? We don't know. But to just do this blanket statement, or we're just dying, and you don't give no context, that is designed to make straight black men look like heterosexuals, man. So to me, I'm not buying it. And then there's one last thing I'm about to hang up, man. Another thing that they like to say is this: When we get pulled over by police, we get hit in two ways. We are black, and we're also being hit because we're trans. There's another problem with that statement. How do you know that cops are up here killing transgenders? In fact, how do you know that the police can look at you through your car and say, that's a transgender, that's a black transgender, so I'm going to go kill him? These people have no arguments. Like Dave Chappelle say, transgenders, and not all transgenders, but I love what he said. They like to make up words, make up stuff just to win arguments. And, we're going to have to just ignore these people. Let them cry. Netflix don't need to be putting out no more statements. Netflix to defend Dave Chappelle and just let these people cry. Stop responding to them. And that's all I got to say, bro.
I thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Take care.
All right, great call. Shout out to my man Tariq for that one. But you know what I'm going to say as I close it on out here? A lot of these transgenders, the black transgenders, the context is that a lot of them are streetwalkers and they're being killed by their johns, or they're being killed by being involved in their street life just out there like that. I'll tell you about my uncle, right? I saw him all the time. He was out there in that life, and the reason why he's not gone is because he's a pure goon and keep that pistol on him. He keep the pistol on him. Okay, big drag queen, right? With a that they live a dangerous lifestyle. That's why they're dying at a high rate. Not because black men just hate transgenders. No. If you are a streetwalker, like not even doing some kind of like escort, I'm talking about you're on the street like a dope fiend. You're living in a very dangerous environment, and you're engaging in that kind of work, that kind of physical, that what they call it, sex work or whatever. You are playing with your life. Okay, there's been plenty of people get chopped up in a dumpster after they get done with it. That's why. As a matter of fact, I saw a sting where it was like 8 transgender black women that got caught in the prostitution sting. All of them were males, obviously, had male names, looking like Edgerrin James, looking like Emmitt Smith in the 90s when they're Cowboys. They had Michael Irvin, 2,000 yards a season, that type of looking just like that in the face. But they had like wigs and stuff on. And they were all black and they were all transgender. Street walking. That is the context that they don't want to talk about. They're just, like he said, they'll say it to make heterosexual people like me, black men, and him look bad. It's not us. I'm not out there doing that. I'm a heterosexual male at the crib, me and my wife chilling. That's it. But anyway, I digress. Thank y'all for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you guys enjoyed what you heard tonight, please hit the like button on this video. And if you are watching or listening, pardon me, on an audio streaming platform, give me a 5-star rating, give me a review, give me whatever you can. I most certainly appreciate it. And if you don't know, this podcast will be available as audio only on your favorite audio streaming platform, whether they be Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, Apple iTunes, etc. Link for that will be in the box, or just go to your favorite audio streaming platform and search ABL Live. I should pop right on up. But that'll be it. So we got super chats on deck, and then I'll close it on out. Thank you to the mods for doing what you do, keeping them trolls in check. I appreciate you guys all the time. I could not do it without you. So let's go to the last super chat where I left off. Thank you to Tyrannius, who says, Nick Sandman didn't teach them a lesson, obviously, talking about the CNN people just saying whatever they want to say. Yeah, obviously they didn't teach a lesson. If they learned from that, then they wouldn't be doing what they're doing right now, but obviously they didn't learn. Thank you to Devin, a 16-month member, who says, I think I already read this. I'll read it again. Illinois Joliet Diocese Church Choir is going back to singing this weekend, first time in 18 months. Lecture coming up. Thank you to Michael Bacchus for your donation. Thank you to Jeffrey, who says, we got cryptocurrencies, ? You don't need a mattress. Speaking about the earlier call, putting money in the mattress, you got crypto. Thank you to Rod 90265, who says, Denmark is 100% open. Prime Minister says the mandates do more damage than good. Well, finally we got a prime minister, president, leader, or whatever with some common sense, right? Thank you to Lisa S for your donation. Thank you to Rod 90265, who says, Candace Owens for president, or at least vice president. I'm with you on that. Let's go ahead and get her done. Thank you to Razor Sharp Thoughtfulness, who says, How many Joe Bidens in the White House does it take to screw in a light bulb? 3, 1 to realize a light bulb isn't food, 1 to figure out which way to twist it, and just 1 to quote unquote screw it up. Good one. Shout out to Barack Obama for that one. Thank you to Stephanie, who says the only person I ever donated money to was Herman Cain. I loved him. I missed what you said about him. What was it? Thank you, ABL. Heart emoji. Well, thank you for that. Basically, what I was saying about Herman Cain was I admired his business sense, you know, being able to be an entrepreneur and understanding how to manage himself and be disciplined that way. I admired that about him, and being brave to just be who he is, really. I'm going to say that now. I did not say that back then, but I just admire him for being who he is, being brave to be a conservative black male just out there and not being worried about what the outside thinks about him. Yeah, just it's a bravery to be who he was. And again, may he rest in peace. Thank you to Misty Morton, who says, also a member for 5 months, who says, I kind of think that Americans are as woke or aware as they're going to get. If we don't guard our vote, the little freedom we have left will be gone as fast as Biden's mind. The time is literally now or never, pardon me. Misty also says, did Buttigieg shop his twins on layaway from Planned Parenthood? Uh-oh. They're going to rebel hardcore and end up alt-right. The only way the world's going to wake up and Americans unite again is if real aliens attack, but we won't believe media. Exactly. It'll take everything to just fall apart. Because the way it is now, everything's comfy, everything's good. What's the point in changing? Now, if you want to change on your own, then that's fine. That's cool. We can try to get that going. And I think we've been able to make some inroads in that way, make this culture that we enjoy, this conservative culture, make that be more popular. But you're going to see a drastic change in other areas of society when society collapses. But hopefully we don't have something so devastating to where people just totally fall apart and die. We don't want to go that direction either. Thank you to Matthew, who says Youngkin is slightly in lead, Virginia Republican. We'll see. I mean, Virginia is hard. It's hard to be Glenn Youngkin. And again, Terry McAuliffe was the governor before, and you're in a pretty blue place. If Glenn Youngkin wins Virginia, that's a really good sign for 2022. Very good sign, because it's almost impossible for him to win, in my humble opinion. Thank you to Wolfgang Dio, who says Democrats are coming as sympathizers. Caius Possumus Ternius says Demi Lovato is leading cancel culture and saying aliens from space is offensive language. Also, the grape incident on the subway today was terrible. I've not heard about that, but it does not sound very good, obviously. Thank you to Daryl, who says, do you have any live debates with other YouTubers? I think an intelligent conversation between you and brother Jason Black and yourself would be very interesting. I do it. I know what that is. Also, JBL versus Jason Black would be, ABL. My dad was JBL. ABL versus Jason Black would be a great debate for the intellectual community. Both individuals are highly intelligent and would bring very good talking points. I feel like we'd be on the same page, a lot of different things. I feel like it wouldn't be that far off. I feel like he's kind of like on that blackity black wave, but aside from that, like the core of our arguments would be very similar. So shout out to him though. Thank you to Jiminy Crickets. This was a donating guy that was kind of offended at me, I suppose. He says, do conservatives do research or regurgitate the same talking points from Fox News like the left? You know what? I'm going to stop you right there. You're talking about we repeat the same talking points from Fox, but I've heard that exact same line 1,000 times with no difference. Oh, you guys just take the same talking points from Fox and regurgitate that. The same word, regurgitate, talking points, Fox. I've heard that 1,000 times. 1,000 times, literally. Not even, no BS. Also, the last part of it says, both sides are no different. Go independent. I hear that all the time, too. What y'all always say? It's two wings of the same bird. I hear that every day. That ain't nothing new. Come with a new argument. But anyways, next super chat was, some conservatives are closeted racists. That's why they have Candace. I'm not going to say what you said. You had a very offensive name for Candace. That's why they have Candace Owens and B. Tatum to speak their talking points. Again, let's have a broader vocabulary, shall we? Talking points. As always, you always attack Brandon and Candace. You always say Fox talking points, regurgitate, come with a new set of words. it's like you learned a new sentence in a different language and you want to repeat it. You know, it's just like you go to Spain or you go to Mexico and say, what's a como te llamo or something like that. You say that over and over again. It's like, okay, let's learn something new here, right? Thank you to Jan 55 who says, read the Bible, tells you how this all ends. What's that? JW.org, Jehovah's Witnesses. Shout out to the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Adventists and all these people. Shout out to y'all. Thank you to Debbie Russ who says, I would love to be a moderator for you, AB. We support you 100%. Sending love from a Leo family, law enforcement. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Thank you to Louise Smith who says, speaking of family, do I have any mini-me's? I don't have any children. That'd be next, but I don't have any children. Jane says, Newsom is asking Court of Appeals to remove vaccine mandate for a union that donated $1.75 million. You can buy your way out. There you go. What's the cost? Just pay it up. Let me see. Tom Mueller says, you're a talented sir, ABL. Keep doing what you do. Thank you for that. Thank you to Staff Rose who says, what's up, ABL? Great show as always. FJB. Thank you. Shout out to Tom again who says, and F Reddit's Herman Cain Award. Yeah, that's gotta go. That's out of here. All right, so I think that'll be right for me. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. I'll be back again, of course, live on Wednesday, right on the show, right on this channel, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to right around 11. Take calls the last 2 hours. I'll talk my talk for the first hour or so. But that will be a wrap. You guys have been great tonight. And until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out and peace.